is October 7th, 2025. I'd like to ask if everyone can stand for the Pledge of the Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cam, Sunshine, announcements.
Yes, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 7th in the year 2025. This is a Jersey City Planning Board meeting with a scheduled 5:30 p.m. start time. And in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given to the editor of the Bergen Record, El Espelito, and posted with the city clerk on October 3rd of this year. This meeting was also posted on the Jersey City Division of City Planning webpage, and all distribution materials made available to the board were published and made available to the public.
Thank you. Before we go into the roll call, I would like to welcome our newest board member, Anthony Lewis,
Welcome.
Congratulations,
who
Anthony.
has been sworn in
Congrats.
already. Thank you. Roll call, please, Cam.
Okay. Acting Vice Chair Stamato.
Here.
Commissioner Wick.
Here.
Commissioner Lewis. Commissioner Lipsky. Commissioner Patel.
Here.
And Acting Chair Gangadin.
Here.
All right, we have 6 commissioners present. We have a quorum.
Can you swear in the staff, please?
I see Joe, Matt, Ben, Junru, Cam. Do you guys swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Cam, any correspondence?
Yes, Chair. We have under new business, item 14, requesting to carry with preservation of notice to November 25th of this year. That would be the only meeting in November, a regularly scheduled meeting. So that is item 14, case P 2025-0086. It's a site plan amendment. Address is 176 West Side Avenue. Again, requesting to carry with preservation of notice to November 25th of this year. Item 17 on the agenda, case P 2024-0226. This is a preliminary and final major site plan. Address is 3085 JFK Boulevard. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to November 25th of this year. Moving on. Page 10 of the agenda, item 20, P20-168. It's a preliminary and final major site plan. Address is 417 to 427 Hoboken Avenue. And they've requested carry with preservation of notice to November 25th. Item 22, case P 2025-0073. This is a preliminary and final major site plan with C variances. Address is 569 Palisade Avenue. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to November 25th of this year. And I believe we have one applicant's attorney who wishes to make an announcement on the record about their request to carry. Okay, all right, no, I'll do it. Okay, it's enough. Okay, last item, second to last item on the agenda, item 23, case P 2025-0080, for a preliminary and final major site plan amendment. Address is 177 Grand Street. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to November 25th of this year. And that concludes correspondence with staff. We do have the sunshine announcement marked into evidence as Exhibit B1. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam. At this time, I would like to move on to old business, number 7 on the agenda. I'd like to call in case P2025-0171, which is a 1-year extension. Address is 50 Day Street. Mr. McCann?
Good evening, Madam Chairperson. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jim McCann from the law firm of Connell Foley on behalf of the applicant. This project is at 50 Day Street. It is It has a preliminary and final site plan approval for the interior renovation of the final tower at the American Can Company complex. The original approval was granted in September of 2022. We did previously get one extension. My client now has building permits, I've been told, submitted to the building department. However, our extension expired September 6th, so we're asking for a second extension, hopefully the last one, because hopefully the project will get built sometime we'll start construction sometime in the next couple of months. So we're asking for another one-year extension that would get us through September 6th of 2026. That's my presentation.
That's your presentation,
Yes.
counsel? Any questions from the board?
No.
No.
How's the planner? General?
Yeah, I'll just ask the applicants to comply to the conditions in the original approval.
Yes. Applicant agrees.
Staff recommend approval.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public?
I'd like to close the meeting.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Public is closed. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion in reference to case number P2025-0171. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Second motion.
Roll call?
Okay.
Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Here. Yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Lipsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Patel,
Yes.
Commissioner Week,
Aye.
Acting Chair Gangton.
Aye.
Motion carries one in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Got your first case under your belt.
I'd like to call in case B2025-0188. It's 394 Summit Avenue. Mr. Lena.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tom Lean from the law firm of Connell Foley. The application is a request for a one-year extension of approvals that were provided by this board, which are actually set to expire on October 24th of this year. My client has actually put in permits for it, and this is really just a belt and suspenders thing, just to give the board a little background. It was a 5-story, 17-unit building within the Journal Square Zone 4A redevelopment plan area. Like I said, he's hoping to commence construction. He's just worried that before he finalizes his permitting process, the approvals will effectively expire. So first time we're asking for a 1 year, and we would just ask that you approve that this evening.
That's your presentation?
That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the board has any questions?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public? Come on.
I know the routine.
You swear any testimony you give tonight's gonna be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
After the record, can you swear and give your full address, please?
Danielle, Danielle, D'Adamo, D as in David, A, D as in David, A-M-O, 72 Hopkins Avenue, Jersey City, New Jersey, Ward C.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. I'm speaking regarding 394 Summit Avenue. I understand this is a request for a one-year extension of a previously approved 5-story mixed-use building with 17 residential units and a ground floor commercial retail space. I'd like to ask for clarification on the retail component. What type of commercial use is currently envisioned for that ground floor? Has a tenant been identified? Or is there a plan to ensure the space supports neighborhood needs rather than remaining vacant or being converted to non-retail use? Summit Avenue has seen a lot of turnover and underutilized storefronts, so it's important that new mixed-use projects contribute to an active, walkable corridor that benefits nearby residents. I appreciate more information on how this retail space will be activated and whether there are any conditions tied to the extension that support that goal. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think whenever this question comes up, the answer is it's too early to tell. My client needs to still demolish the building, go through the permitting process, build the project, and once it's starting to become a reality, that's when he starts seeking retail tenants. So, I mean, this is not a big space. It's a corner space. So we're not talking about a space that could have like a grocery store or something in it. But at this point, I really couldn't answer with any certainty what kind of use would go in there. But what I can say is that the board approved it with that retail space in there. If we were to change that, that would be an amendment that would have to come back to this board, and you would have to approve that change.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public?
I'd like to close the portion for the public.
Second.
Public is closed. Santo, you wanted to say something?
No, Madam Chair, the only thing that I would add is I agree with Mr. Lean in the event that that retail space was to be, or commercial retail space were to be converted to something else or sought to be converted, it would come back to this board to be heard. So with that, I think Mr. Lean's explained the purpose of the extension. I think he's waiting for permits, and to use his phrase, it is belt and suspenders at this point, but I'll defer to planning staff.
Thank you. The planner in general?
Yeah, I'll just ask the applicant to comply to the conditions in urgent approval.
That's acceptable.
With the staff recommend approval.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'd like to second,
Make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion in reference to case number P 205-0188 for a one-year extension. I'd like to make a motion in reference to that.
Second the motion. Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsky,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Week,
Aye.
Acting Chair Gangadin.
Aye.
Motion carries, one in favor.
Thank you. I would like to call on case B 2024-0236. It's a preliminary major site plan with deviations. The address is 660 Grove Street. Tom Lane.
Again, for the record, Tom Lean from Connell Foley. We began this application last time, but the only thing that we did was check for the notices. So I would just have Mr. Alampe confirm that jurisdiction is still proper before this board, and then I will ask my my experts to set up.
Thank you, Mr. Lean. That is correct. We had opened the application. We had verified the proof of publication, proof of mailing with respect to the application. We had marked it as A1 for purposes of the record. So this is the continuation of that hearing, and I believe there were some limited introductory comments by Mr. Lean, but let's get the witness sworn, and we'll be up to A2.
Actually, Mr. Alampe, I didn't even begin my my presentation, so I'd like to just begin by giving the board a flavor of what the application is this evening. As stated, this is 660 Grove Street. This is as you are entering into Hoboken. There is an existing Verizon warehouse. It is bounded by 16th Street and Grove, and to the rear of it, it's actually bounded by the light rail tracks. So it's a somewhat odd, almost triangular piece of property. It is within the Jersey Avenue Light Rail redevelopment plan area. It is in the high-rise district. The application before you tonight is a multi-phase, two-tower project. It is for a total of 1,000 residential units. We are seeking only preliminary site plan approval this evening for both phases. In addition, we're going to ask for the protections, the additional protections that are provided within the MLUL for applicants seeking preliminary site plan over a certain amount of units. Basically, we're allowed to ask for the board to consider extending the protections for the approval beyond the normal 3 years that are in the MLUL, and we would be asking for 10 years on that. To give you a little bit more of an idea of the project you're going to see this evening, Phase 1 is a 17-story tower containing 542 units and 346 parking spaces. Phase 2 is 484 units. The parking for both is in Phase 1. There is a commercial component to the ground floor as well. We are utilizing the affordable housing bonus within the redevelopment plan. That's a requirement of 15% affordable units, so that's 150 affordable units within this building, approximately. Obviously, this is preliminary only, so some of the actual numbers might change, but what we're asking for tonight is that unit count. We are asking for some minor deviations this evening. They mostly relate to the height of the building. The redevelopment plan does allow up to 14 stories and 160 total feet. We are asking for 17 stories and slightly under 170. Those are both C variances this board can hear. Those have been granted on similar projects within this redevelopment plan area, including at 619 Grove and 248 Erie. You will see a presentation and hear testimony regarding those variances along those lines. And again, this is preliminary only. So what you're going to see tonight is not going to be the full presentation you would see if we were moving forward with this project tomorrow. But the checklist is the checklist here, and we've worked extensively with city planning to provide them as much detail and information as we can about what's going to be built on this site. I have 3 witnesses. One is Mr. Ian Burton, who is our civil engineer, and he's going to introduce you to the existing conditions on the site, as well as the utility connections and issues. So I will have him come up now.
Mr. Lean, can you just clarify for the record, you're looking for 10 years for the preliminary approval?
Protections for the preliminary approval, that's correct, yes.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
For the record, can you state your spelling name?
Last name Burton, B-U-R-T-O-N. First name Ian, I-A-N. And address is 68 Orchard, Summit, New Jersey.
Mr. Burton, have you testified before this board before?
I have not.
Okay, so can you just briefly give them the benefit of your credentials?
I have a Bachelor's of Science degree from in civil engineering from College of New Jersey in 2012. I've been professional engineering with my license since 2017. My license is active and in good standing. I presented in front of other boards in the state of New Jersey.
Thank you. You're qualified.
Thank
Mr. Burton?
you. Is there a method to getting this to show up on the screen? So to repeat the site location, the site is known as Block 6102, Lot 1. It's at 660 Grove Street. It consists of 1.88 acres of land. It's within the Jersey Ave Light Rail Redevelopment Plan, utilizing the Affordable Housing Bonus, Bonus B, in the high-rise district. We're bound by 18th Street to the south, Grove Street to the west, Merritt Boulevard to the east, and the
Do we have to
railroad-
mark this, Mr. Lean? Do we have to mark any of this?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I have,
I apologize, has this not been
This-
provided?
this
as
has
part
not
of your
been
plans?
provided.
Okay, then this needs to be marked.
Is it a slideshow?
there's 3 slides, yes.
A2, 3 slides. Can you give me a title and the date?
660 Grove Street aerial, August 26, 2025.
A2, thank you.
Sorry, so covered the streets. We're located near the limits of the Jersey City and Hoboken. We're just north of the Lackawanna Center and near the Newport Plaza, the Acme. Currently, the site has roughly a 22,000 square foot industrial building, which is predominantly surrounded by pavement parking with a steep slope to the railroad to the north. And as we stated before, we're proposing a 17-story, 1,000-unit apartment building with just over 1,000 square feet of retail within the 2 phases. Going to the next slide. This depicts the ground floor of the first phase, which is predominantly on the west side of the site along Grove Street, which consists of apartment buildings, retail along Grove Street, 100% of the parking, and then the remaining area is a fenced-in meadow for where phase 2 will be constructed. And then going to the next slide, it shows the full build-out, the full tower of phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 2 consisting of the remaining retail space, the remaining apartments, and a dog run in the rear. And as we stated, we're requesting relief for building height. We're proposing 17 stories, where 169.9 feet is proposed, where 14 stories and 160 is permitted. We also have building overhangs along Grove Street and 18th Street, where a 15-foot front yard setback is required. We're requesting relief from street tree separation, where we're exceeding the 30 feet required with a 68 feet separation between our driveway entrance right there along 18th Street, and the number of street trees where we have 15 proposed and 23 is required. Getting to site details, we have vehicular access off of 18th Street with 2 curb cuts, one way in, one way out. And that's into the garage area, which also includes any resident drop-off or loading, which will be in a designated area in the garage. The residential lobby doors on either side of those 2 driveways with retail doors along 18th Street near Marin Boulevard and Grove Street. And there's also a one-way commercial access drive that in the north corner near Grove Street, which goes towards, exits out of Marin Boulevard, which is for retail loading and any other residential pickup drop-off near the dog run. The parking, we're proposing 346 spots, which meets the requirement for residential, which is 0.2 to 0.5 per unit and 1 per 1,000 square foot of retail. That includes the 2% EDA and 15% EV requirement. We have 508 bike storage within the building and 8 additional spots along the sidewalk near the retail spaces. And we also include a bike path along 18th Street running from Marin to Grove Street in coordination with the City Transportation Department. That'll be a raised bike path at sidewalk level. Currently, the site sits at elevation between 5 and 9 with a slope to the railroad up to 20. We're in FEMA flood zone AE, elevation 9. The retail will be at ground level between 5 and 6 elevation, with the residential areas raised at elevation 12. And we have a rear retaining wall along the railroad, which has a peak height of 12 feet and will be designed to meet the the NJDEP flood hazard rules. The site has been designed to meet the NJDEP stormwater rules for stormwater quantity reductions, since it's considered a major development. Since we are reducing the impervious vehicular surface, we do not meet the requirements for water quality. We're not applicable to meet water quality or recharge. The site uses a series of porous pavement areas to meet green infrastructure, which is all holds the stormwater and discharges it into the stormwater system in the rear access and discharges it out to Grove Street. We also have 2 8-inch combined domestic and fire water services, one off of Grove and one off of 18th, 1 sewer service connection off of Grove, coordinate with local utilities providers for gas and electric. For street and landscaping, we're replacing the curb and sidewalk along all 3 frontages. We are, and as stated before, we're proposing 7 trees, street trees along 18th Street at 30 feet apart, with 1 standalone that's 68 feet apart, and 7 trees along Grove Street at 30 feet apart. We also have a 10-foot wide landscape buffer along the rear and along the railroad, which provides just over 5,000 square feet of landscaped area. And in addition to the 11,000 square feet of porous pavement, we have 21,000 cubic feet of stormwater detention, which meets the city's green area ratio requirement. And we have a number of street lighting along Grove, 18th, and Marin, with some facade lighting and ceiling lighting in the rear access, which meets the city's lighting requirements. And that concludes my presentation.
I have no questions for the witness.
Any questions from the board?
No.
No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Michael Higgins, who is our architect.
Yes. Michael Higgins, Higgins.
Mr. Higgins, is your license current
It is,
and in good standing?
yes.
I believe you've been in front of this board numerous times as well.
Yes.
You're qualified.
Thank you very much.
You may proceed.
Okay, all right. So we're here to present 660 Grove Street. I have a 17-page presentation document that I'd like to have marked.
A3,
Yes. Okay.
does it have a title and a date?
October 7th, 2025, and 660 Grove, Jersey Ave, Light Rail Redevelopment Plan, Jersey City, New Jersey.
17 sheets?
Yes.
Very good, A3. Thank you.
Thank you. The first slide shows the sister project to this project, 619 Marin Boulevard, which was approved in the last year here. It's the same development group and ownership group, and the construction has just started on 619. The buildings will be similar in size and height, and some of the deviations that were requested during that and approved during that presentation are also going to be requested at this point. The project statistics include 1,000 residential units, 15% or 150 will be affordable units. The building will be divided into two phases. Phase 1 will have 458 units, and 69 of those will be affordable. Phase 2 will have 542 units, and 81 of those will be affordable. The project has 350 parking spaces, garage spaces, and 500 bike parking spaces. The total retail area is 11,947 square feet. Divided by phases, it'll be 8,437 square feet of retail in Phase 1 and 3,510 square feet of retail in Phase 2. The building height is 17 stories and 169 foot 11 from the design flood elevation. The mixture of the units will include 528 studios, which is 53%, 240 one-bedroom units, which is 24%, 171 two-bedroom units, which is 17%, and 61 three-bedroom units, which comprises 6%, for the total of 1,000 units. This is an aerial of the site with the highlighted of the site area. It's sort of a D-shaped space that has frontage both on 18th Street to the south, Grove Street to the west, Marin to the east, and then the light rail and New Jersey Transit tracks to the north. This is an aerial looking west to the Jersey Ave redevelopment area in the background. The Erie-Lackawanna areas to the left of this site or to the south, and then 619 would be just off the page, the other project. This is a ground floor plan showing both phases of the building with north page up, Grove Street to the left, 18th Street to the bottom of the page, and Marin to the right side of the page. The building garage is shown in white, the retail is shown in the beige orange type of color, and the building lobbies are shown in light blue. The building has access at the corner is one of the lobbies for Phase 1. It's at the corner of Grove Street and 18th Street. It has all the vertical circulation, stairs, elevators, mechanical spaces to be a standalone building. The garage is entered off of 18th Street, and it has a queuing area so that the garage entrance is set back from 18th Street. And it also allows for a turnaround for some drop-offs and Ubers to occur in this covered area, like a porte cochere. The second phase is to the right, so you'll see the second lobby in light blue centered on 18th Street with a retail that is on the corner of Marin and 18th Street. The utilities are located along the back of the building in dark gray, along the light rail embankment area. So that we've tried to have a service area along the rail line, which is where we think is a nice appropriate thing. Each building will have its own loading dock for move-ins and move-outs and other type of deliveries. And again, 350-car multi-level garage. This next slide shows Phase 1 construction only. So the Phase 1 building will include all the parking. And again, the lobby is on the corner of Grove and 18th Street. We'll have a small retail space along Grove Street. And then the area that's the rest of 18th and the Phase 2 property that fronts on Marin and 18th will be a landscape green meadow area that'll be fenced in and controlled and maintained by the building. Showing the complete phases, Phase 1 and 2. When you get to the second floor, you have residential liner units shown in this yellow type of color, which are a mixture of studios, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units. The white at the center is the parking structure, which is multi-level, self-park, and it is lined by the residential units with a single loaded corridor. There is one small terrace area on the east side of the building and a small amenity space in the Phase 2 building where the residential units don't enclose the shape. The 3rd to 5th floor is also the same kind of configuration with the parking levels, some utility rooms, and then also single loaded corridor residential units of studios, 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom units. When you get to the 6th floor, you have on top of the parking garage stops, and on top of the roof of the parking garage is a landscape pool deck, and then it becomes a double-loaded corridor building that sort of has a J type of shape to it. You'll have landscaped roof deck above the parking garage. The purple spaces or the light violet-colored spaces are amenity spaces for the building residents that'll include things like club rooms, exercise and fitness, wellness, and the type of spaces, demonstration kitchens, and other spaces to be programmed at a later date. Going up through the tower, the 7th through 16th floors are a double-loaded corridor. Again, taking advantage of the courtyard oriented towards the east to take advantage of some of the views of the Hudson River and New York City beyond. At the 17th floor, the building steps back along the street frontages 10 feet in accordance with the redevelopment plan requirements. And then there's a rooftop amenity space that meets all the zoning requirements and a landscaped roof for the surfaces that are not going to be occupied by the tenants. This is a roof plan showing the diagram of some of the bulkheads on the building that include elevator and stair type of penthouses. This is a section of the building showing the floor-to-floor heights. The enclosure, the yellow color represents the residential units. The white color in the center is the garage, and you can see how it's lined by residential on all sides. The light blue colors are the lobbies at the ground floor, and the orange is the retail. At the top of the building, you'll see that purple shaded amenity space. This is a view of the building looking at the corner of 18th and Grove Street that shows the Phase 1 and Phase 2 together. The two lobbies, the one lobby is on the corner and the one lobby is in the middle of 18th Street. The building is a mixture of masonry and brick and stone at the base of the building, and then the upper part is primarily glass and a metal panel type of building. We have some shaping of the building, both for architectural interest and on the portion that faces the train station to deal with and address some of the sound issues so that the sound bounces off the building in a way that's not reverberating around the neighborhood. The idea is it's an acoustic treatment of the building that allow the sound of the rail line not to echo around much. I also have one last slide, which is or maybe there's two last slides. This is a blow up to show you what the street elevation will feel like at that corner. One of the things we're asking for, one of the deviations, is for this building to be able to cantilever over the sidewalk. The sidewalk depth requirement was 15 feet, but to the dimension to the property line, it was 5 feet less than that. So the building will project over that, but it will be the required width of the sidewalk will be provided, and it will provide a nice. It's very tall. It'll be about 18 feet, 20 feet above the sidewalk, but it will provide a nice covered area that you can walk along when you're walking along the sidewalk, with both the retail and the lobby space there. And that's the last slide. I think that concludes my presentation, unless there's parts of it that I need to.
I have no
Cover on?
questions for Mr. Higgins.
Any questions from the board?
No, I don't see any questions at all.
Okay, thank you.
One thing before my last witness, Mr. Higgins did mention that the building was designed to deal with some of the acoustical issues from the train. We did submit an acoustical report to planning regarding those issues to make sure that it's not affecting the neighborhood around us. And with that, I have one last witness, Mr. Ron Larson, who is our planner, who will walk you through the requested deviations.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And for the record, can you spell your name?
Sure. Robert, last name Larson, Larsen.
Mr. Larson, have you testified in front of this board before?
I have.
Is your license current
It is.
and in good standing?
Yes.
You're qualified.
Okay, so my job is to address the deviations. As we mentioned, there are, I believe, 5. First, we'll speak to the point of height. So we are asking for a deviation where 14 stories are permitted. We're asking for 17. We're also asking for a deviation from height in terms of feet, which is 169.9, where 160 is permitted. As has already been mentioned, this is still within the realm of a C variance for both. The applicant's also seeking 2 deviations in regard to street trees. One for the number of street trees, which is 15 where 23 are otherwise permitted, and spacing, which is a maximum of 68 where 30 is otherwise permitted. And the last deviation is, as was really just mentioned by the architect at the end of his testimony, is there are overhangs that encroach into the 15-foot required setback, front yard setback. In terms of planning testimony, I would offer that in support of all of these variances, one, obviously this board can consider this under a C1 criteria. This is an irregularly shaped site. We are up against a rail, and as has been described, it is in the shape of a D and curved. But beyond that, I'd like to offer, just for the record, the C2 criteria in support of these deviations. As has been noted, the building height has been permitted in other places, but I do think this continues to be an appropriate use of this space in this scale, right? I think the architect has done a great job of, through creative layout and design, being able to get a building that's only a few feet taller would be imperceivable, but get it in 17 stories, allowing for more variety in the housing, the affordable housing, as well as a mix of units. I also think he's done it with some very creative and beautiful architecture that's going to enhance the area. In terms of the street tree number and spacing, I think they're directly related to the layout. There's access from 18th Street where we have a gap. I think it's a good functioning gap, one way in, one way out, but it does cause us to have a greater gap and a few less street trees. But I do think the benefit of having the entrance there is noted. And then in terms of the overhang, I think the intention of the setback is met. At ground floor level, we have a fully functioning 15-foot wide sidewalk. As was just mentioned, again, the overhang is above. It's not encumbering any of the action at street level. I also think we're in a place where it actually provides good cover, as the architect mentioned, and would not have a negative effect on the surrounding. In terms of furthering the purposes of the municipal land use law, I would offer that these deviations in this project several are furthered by this. One would be the promotion of the general welfare through creative design techniques and also the board action in support of this application. Purpose E, which speaks to appropriate densities and also the benefit of the neighborhood. This is a true redevelopment. I'm very excited to see this building come to fruition in this area. And also Purpose I, we saw some beautiful renderings. Purpose I speaks to a desirable visual environment, which I do think this building achieves. Also, we have some creative design that's being put in even to assist with sound. Another that I think I don't often use, which is Purpose C, which is to promote light, air, and open space. We've used this irregularly shaped lot in a way that I think we have 2 phases, we have 2 towers, we have a lot of exposure that's been able to be achieved. So when we think of the furthering and the positive criteria, we have to look at the negative effects on the zone plan or the master plan. I do not think by permitting these deviations that the zone plan or the master plan are impacted with any substantial detriment. In fact, I see none. So as a planner, I would say that the balance of this, it's certainly outweighs, the benefits outweigh any detriment that would be perceived by permitting these deviations. And that's it.
Any questions from the board?
No, I don't see any questions.
Thank you.
Just one note I would mention, yes, we're not providing all the trees that are required under the forestry standards, but we will make the payment in lieu that is permitted to serve when you're not providing all the trees. That is the bulk of our testimony. I do have our traffic expert here if there are any questions. Other than that, we think this is a great project that's largely meeting the requirements of the redevelopment plan, providing a substantial amount of affordable housing on site, and we thank the board for their time.
I just have a question in regards to, or some clarity regarding the 10-year protection.
So that's the ask. So Mr. Lean, I'm sure, is well aware that this board's never given 10 years, and this board's never given 10 years on a preliminary.
Sure.
It's within the board's discretion under the MLUL on a preliminary. Essentially, the ask is give us 10 years for us to come back to you pretty much with this building and get final approval to then go and construct this building. The protections are that what's being presented in terms of scale, variance relief, site plan review relief, that remains intact for a period of 10 years. So that's the ask. Completely within the board's discretion. I am sure Mr. Lean may want to comment as to how he gets to that request. I would note there are some factors in the MLU regarding economic conditions and things of that nature, size of project, which obviously the MLUL talks about if it's 100 residential units or if it is, I believe, 150,000 square feet of non-residential. So here you have, I think it was 11,000 and change in non-commercial, so that's not really what we're talking about. It's the hundreds of units that are being proposed. So I'm happy to give the board any additional information.
Yeah,
Mr. Ward.
the usage of the bonus also requires an RDA. I'm just curious, is there a timeline pursuant to that RDA? And is the 10-year?
The 10-year is
Seeing that, or
is really,
what's going on?
it's not, we are designated. We haven't fully completed the
RDA.
development agreement, subject to the approval of the board this evening. If the board was to grant us the 10 years, that would be something under consideration, but I have a feeling that there would be more stringent timelines within that. This is really just about protections of the approvals and the underlying zoning that we're requesting. I've certainly never negotiated a redevelopment agreement where 10 years is contemplated to complete a project. But
I appreciate the candor, Mr. Lee.
Yes, but it's not an arbitrary number. I mean, it does come from the fact that preliminary site plans are granted 3 years of protection with the option to come back for 2 additional years and extensions. When we do go to final, we're allowed 2 years of protection of our final approval with the option of 3 years of extensions under the MLUL as well. All discretionary, of course, by the board. So we didn't just come up with that number out of thin air. We asked for it, just trying to be realistic, not hoping that this project is going to take 10 years or thinking it's going to take 10 years, but knowing that things change, time changes, the city is growing. Financing can be difficult for a project that includes substantial amounts of affordable housing. So the intent is to move as quickly as possible on it, but we do put forth to the board that there are factors that are sometimes out of a developer's hands.
Do you want me to retort, Madam Chair? Because I'm
Absolutely,
happy to
so
retort.
yes.
10 years is a decade. And,
Happened in 10 years.
you know, the city is rapidly changing, and 10 years is, you know, out there for preliminary. I think I'm safe to assume that this board likes to see whatever they approve constructed while they're still on the board. And,
Yep.
you know, 10 years for preliminary, and then
It's way too long.
final from there, I can't see the RDA being on that type of a schedule. So,
Why not something like, can I make a suggestion?
well, so the only other thing I would add for everyone to consider is, you know, I think 3 years is tight, but I think 10 years is very generous.
Agreed. 3 years. Yeah, I agree. 3 years is
3 years is what they get. So anything that we would approve, they have 3 years. They can get two
additional 2.
extensions of that for preliminary. I hope that we're not waiting 10 years to see the preliminary or the final site plan, because the next thing in my mind is, I am sure Mr. Higgins will not be designing this same building in 10 years, but maybe he will be.
It's the ask, and it's completely up to the board's discretion. And we are comfortable, if the board is so kind to grant approval here this evening, whatever they see fit to grant.
So if I may, I think based upon past experience as well, and Santa, with your input, I think the 3 years with the 2 years extension is something that I think we can consider safely.
So that's what
Any,
that would be the time frame that
I agree.
I agree with that.
is granted whenever we approve anything,
Right.
right?
So then we would
It's
have,
3, and there would be extensions. So if you're comfortable with a 5-year time period, you could give a 5-year approval. They could get extensions therefrom. But if you're comfortable with the statutory 3 years and having them come back for the extensions, that's completely within the board's discretion. We do have to open it to public. I don't know if we need to hear from traffic. It seems to me that this is the issue the board is concerned about.
correct.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
unanimous?
can we just move forward with what is typical for the 3 years?
So we can address that at the time if we get to a motion on the matter. We don't have to make that decision
No.
before we decide if we're comfortable moving forward with the application in totality.
Okay.
So I think we need to open it up to public. We need
Do
to
we want to hear
hear
from traffic?
from Mr.
before?
Ward, if anybody wants to hear from
Everybody's
traffic.
fine? Okay. All right, seeing that no one would like to hear from traffic, at this time, I would like to open for public comments on 660 Grove Street.
I do want to note that the traffic engineer never gets to testify in this. Ma'am?
Yes. Paige Keck, K-E-C-K, 157 Sussex Street. Can you
Good
hear me?
evening. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I came here to talk about a different issue that was carried, so I thought I would just mention this. I don't know how variances work, but the variance on trees, I think, is of concern. I'd like to stop it. I'd like to stop it as early as I can. I mean, we need street trees. They clean the air. They're good for the way people feel about a city. They increase property values. I don't understand why they would want fewer trees, and I think we need more of a explanation of why the minimum number or why fewer trees are being requested. With respect to the architect, I'm sure it's a beautiful building.
Let's continue with your full comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. I hope the board going forward will reconsider any variances from the recommendations for street trees, because we need them desperately in the city. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public?
Hello. Sure. Danielle, Danielle, D'Adamo, D's and David A, D's and David A, M-O.
You have 3 minutes?
Okay, well, good evening, Chair and members of the board. Projects of this scale can absolutely bring new life to an area, but only if they're designed in balance with our city's environmental goals and infrastructure realities. First, on sustainability and forestry. Jersey City has committed to achieving a 30% tree canopy by 2040. Yet, too often, large developments remove mature street trees and replace them with token saplings that won't provide meaningful shade, flood mitigation, or air quality benefits for decades. I urge the board to ensure that any site plan approval includes a robust urban forestry plan, not just replacement trees, but native species selected for heat tolerance and stormwater absorption with clear maintenance requirements and canopy growth goals. Green roofs, bioswales, and pervious surfaces should also be part of this discussion if the goal is to create a livable, climate-resilient neighborhood. Second, on transportation and mobility, I want to acknowledge something positive. I'm happy to see that this project includes plans for a bike path. That's a step in the right direction, creating safer, more sustainable alternatives to driving and helping connect the area to a broader active transportation network. But while the bike path is a great start, it shouldn't be overshadowed by the proposed 350-car garage. More parking spaces will inevitably lead to more car trips, congestion, and emissions, directly at odds with the city's Vision Zero, climate action, and bike master plan commitments. I urge the developer and the board to build on the bike path by prioritizing transit partnerships, micromobility options, and car share programs instead of traditional parking. This is an ideal location for truly transit-oriented development with proximity to both the Hudson Bergen light rail and path. Finally, we must think long-term. This project sits within the Jersey Avenue Light Rail redevelopment plan, and it has the potential to be a model for what sustainable urban infill can look like: dense, walkable, and green. But that only happens if sustainability is treated as a design principle, not an afterthought. I urge the board to require stronger environmental and transportation impact analysis before approval, and to work with the applicant to make sure our city's environmental, forestry, and mobility goals are reflected in the final site plan. Thank you for your time and for your service to our city.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public? Seeing there is no, can you?
Seeing that there's nobody else from the public, I would like to make a motion to
Close the public.
to close the public.
Second.
Thank you. Public is closed. Madam Chair, do we want to hear from Mr. Ward, or?
Do we want to hear from council to answer any of
Yeah,
those
I think we should hear
questions
from council
first?
first before.
I wanted to address the comment about the on-site trees. Yes, we're not providing all the trees on-site that are required by the forestry standards. However, when you don't do that, you are required to make a payment in lieu, where for every single tree you're missing, you provide a payment to the forestry, for the Division of Forestry, who plants a tree in the city off-site. So we're not meeting that standard, but to call it a variance, I don't really think it's a variance. It's something that we are complying with as an alternative. I can have my architect address some of the concerns about some of the site sustainability issues, but I think you saw on his presentation that there was a green roof. You heard from our engineer that we are dealing with on-site detention, so I think some of those concerns have already been addressed in our plans. Obviously, again, this is a preliminary application. We will be continuing to work with the city. When we come back with our final design, we will obviously flesh some of those things out a little bit more.
Thank you. And for the record, there is a memo from the forestry on the portal addressing the street tree.
Madam Chair, just to add to that, for those members of the public that did raise the issue, we do have a division of forestry. We have a forester who's in charge of the division. Obviously, he prepares these memos for the board after reviewing the applications and the plans, and if the forestry feels that additional street trees can be planted on site that are going to survive and thrive at the location, obviously the forestry would make that recommendation, and we would tell an applicant, you don't get to pay and have a tree planted somewhere else in the city. It happens on site. But obviously, one of the things that the forester is very conscientious of is the size of the tree pit and the roots, and making sure that the tree is healthy and grows and can add to the canopy. And then the only other thing I would say to those members of the public is simply the forestry, as well as the board, takes that very seriously, and we don't want trees not to survive. We want them to survive and thrive within the city. So it's not something that we are quick to dismiss. It is something that we do look to get on site. But in addition to the regulations and the standards, other things have an effect within the building in terms of where PSE&G is going to make them locate the vault room and things of that nature that conflict with where a street tree could possibly go on a site of this size. So for what that's worth, we thank you for your comments, and it is something that this board and the forestry especially take very, very seriously. Matt?
Matt?
Yeah, thank you for that, Council. I would also add, just because they have multiple intersections, that there's also sometimes conflicts with adding additional trees because of site triangle concerns. But certainly PSE&G, transformer rooms and other underground vaults and things do prevent applicants from meeting our standards. This project does include and meet some of the special setback and buffer requirements of the project. So I would reiterate as well that they have a 10-foot buffer along the train tracks. One, that's meant to be an acoustic buffer, but two, it's also adding a level of imperviousness to the site. Up above, the architect spoke to some of the acoustic design requirements that's required of this site along the train tracks. That's unique to some of these lots in this redevelopment plan that are up against the train tracks specifically. And they also are meeting the setback requirements that are required of them also along that frontage. This project is utilizing the bonus B of the affordable housing bonus of the redevelopment plan. So they talked multiple times that they're going to be providing that. This being a preliminary approval, obviously that sort of agreement won't go into place until much later on, until they're finally in the ground. But we do have conditions regarding that, as well as some standard conditions in the staff memo that was provided to the applicant and the commissioners, dated September 10th, 2024. We would just ask that the applicant put on the record that they agree to those conditions and will meet those conditions.
I have reviewed staff's memo. We agree to the conditions therein.
Perfect. This project being a two-phase project, I think that's laid out in a logical manner. They're handling all of their parking in their phase one. They're landscaping the remainder of that property, should they be built in phases down the line. In the interim, making a sightly condition for however long that second phase takes to get built or start construction. The architecture, although it has some setbacks related to it, I would agree with the planning testimony put on the record regarding the request for those variances. With regards to height in stories, height in feet, front yard setback, that one's somewhat unusual. It says that encroachments are not permitted to dominate the primary facade, and you can see how they were doing that continuous overhang over the street frontages. And that, other than the trees, those are the other three variances that they're asking for. There was no variances as to the tree species. They are complying with the ordinance in that regard. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Before we make the motion to approve, I just want to get the board on the same page so that we all in agreement in regards to the request for the 10-year versus what we normally on the board would provide or would grant, the 3 years.
I would like 2 years. I think we're in agreement on 3 years, and they can come back
Yeah.
and ask
Agree.
for an extension or what have you.
Okay, so then I'll entertain a motion.
So just one thing on that. So there's no downside to a 3-year. I mean, you come back, it's like going in for a physical every periodic, right? So you come in, you throw the car back up on the rack, do the 114-point check, and hope you get out of there with another approval. He's shaking his
Good
head. so-
analysis.
That's good. That's right. That's all.
Statutorily, the approval would be for 3 years. So it's 3 years under the statute. They are able to seek additional extensions. Again, this board, from my recollection, preliminarily, we haven't granted additional time on finals. We've definitely granted more than the 3-year protection, but on preliminary, we've been pretty steadfast in wanting to see the final come back and the project move.
Yep.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve case P2024-0236. This would be for a 3-year preliminary. And as I just stated, I would like to present that to the board to vote. I'm looking for a second, excuse me.
I will second that motion.
Okay, on a motion made and seconded with conditions, in addition, the granting of a statutory preliminary approval, 3 years. Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Lipsky,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Acting Chair Gongadin.
Aye.
Motion carries all in favor.
Thank you.
See you in 3 years.
We'll move on to new business. I'd like to call case P2025-0197, which is Land Development Ordinance and Zoning Map Amendments for Ward A, B, C.
They leave? Yeah, I appreciate it. Go ahead, Matt.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the Planning Board. Staff has for you today a proposed Hackensack River Greenway overlay, which consists of a zoning map amendment locating the overlay on the zoning map, as well as an amendment to our land development ordinance defining the scope and parameters and requirements related to the overlay. I guess first and foremost, to explain what the Hackensack River Greenway is it's a planned multi-use trail in Linear Park. It would provide public access along the entire Hackensack River waterfront throughout Hudson County, our so-called forgotten waterfront on the west side of the city. That is, an underutilized resource that could be doing a lot of good for folks. It's part of our broader plan for greenways, both in the city and beyond in the state, including the Hudson-Essex Greenway, which would connect to Newark and Montclair. Visions for multi-use trails in the Bergen Arches, the Morris Canal Greenway along the path of the old Morris Canal through Jersey City and onward to towns to the west of us and the like. The Greenway itself is a multi-agency project. The Hudson County Division of Planning has been leading the efforts. They have a conceptual plan in place. They've been funding and building segments where there's publicly owned land on the waterfront, but this overlay would address the problem of how do we get segments of Greenway built on privately owned land so we can actually have a continuous waterfront Greenway. This overlay will apply to all the developable public and private land along our Hackensack River waterfront, under which the Jersey City Zoning Code does have jurisdiction. So for some context, the Meadowlands Conservation District, which includes much of the Croxton area, basically everything sort of west of Tonelli Avenue up behind the western slope and the Heights, is under the jurisdiction of the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority for zoning, not the city, so it wouldn't apply there. But for everything pretty much from the path tracks on south within the city along the waterfront, this overlay would apply. And the idea is that when any new development along the Hackensack River waterfront would have to comply with the terms of the overlay. The overlay itself would ensure that developments are required to develop, maintain, and manage the greenway segment along the shoreline. There'd be a 30-foot wide conservation easement required. That would have to be recorded via deed restriction, and the developer would also have to sign a developer's agreement with the city, which would ensure, make clear that the landowner is responsible for the operation, maintenance, and management and perpetuity of that segment of the greenway. There are design standards in the overlay, ensuring that we have an 18-foot wide ADA compliant pathway that has enough room to have both bidirectional bike traffic as well as pedestrian traffic and segregated, so you don't have cyclists and pedestrians fighting over the same small little bit of space like you do in the Hudson River waterfront, for example, which only requires a 12-foot walkway under state law. There's standards around resilient, eco-friendly landscaping. The preferred solution is a living edge pathway, so instead of just having like concrete and a fence, the idea is you have landscaping working as that buffer to keep users the walkway safe from falling in the water. So you have a more naturalistic approach, and you have a more harmonious relationship between the city on one side, the waterfront on the other, and the greenway acting as a natural bridge between them. There are public amenity requirements, including seating, trash cans, and bike racks approximately every 100 feet. And the planning board must review and approve all greenway installations as a site plan. So even if a project otherwise wouldn't meet site plan threshold, for example, along a segment of the river, it would still come to this board for reviewing the purposes of reviewing the actual greenway installation. There are also requirements related to ensuring there are easements created and infrastructure created for public access. Much of our riverfront really is far from our current street grid and our current neighborhoods, and we want to make sure that there's adequate access paths. That would also be covered and would be covered as part of any easement dedication, as part of any developer's agreement, et cetera. So as far as reviewing this proposed amendment for consistency with our master plan, the greenway has a very prominent place within our master plan vision, within the open space element of our master plan. Waterfront access is a key aspect of helping our residents cope with the urban heat island effect. I'm sure as anyone knows, when you're right up against the water, it's a lot cooler than it is when you're in the middle of the concrete jungle that is much of Jersey City. And the greenway is a conduit for connectivity. This is envisioned for both recreational and transportation use. The idea is it's park, it's green space, it's waterfront access for people to enjoy recreationally, passively, but it's also a transportation artery for folks on their feet, on 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, whatever. And helps strengthen connections both within Jersey City, along the west side of Jersey City, as well as to neighboring communities. There's segments of this greenway that have been built in Bayonne. There's segments of this greenway that have been built on public land in Jersey City, most notably in Lincoln Park West. It's sort of intertwined with the Skyway golf course. The county's been pretty diligent with the sections under public stewardship, and this is about working with our development community to realize the sections under private ownership. The land use element identifies the need to enhance access to the waterfront. The large big box retail over there really functions as a barrier between people in the waterfront, and we want, as the waterfront redevelops, we want to make sure that waterfront is a key resource. We've seen, down in the Society Hill redevelopment, Drawers Point, they got a segment of pathway built that was via a redevelopment plan. via Bayfront, we're supposed to be getting a pathway, but this would cover areas like the Hudson Mall and and this ensures, instead of having to wait for redevelopment proposals and a redevelopment plan, we make sure sort of no one beats us to the punch. We make sure no matter what, even if someone's just coming in with a new big box store, we get that segment of Greenway. With that being said, I'm open to the board for questions.
Good job.
Yeah, I think it's much needed, and being forward thinking, I think it's great. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board? No?
I mean, you did really good.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
At this time, I would like to open for the public. Is there anyone from the public?
Madam Chair, saying that there's nobody from the public, I vote to
Second.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing good over here.
I heard you, Pat.
You heard me? Good.
All right.
And we have your recommendation.
Yes, staff recommends a finding of consistency with the master plan and recommendation to City Council to adopt this overlay.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to send this to City Council for adoption.
Second.
I'd like a motion.
Oh, excuse me. I would like to make a motion in reference to what was just discussed by
P02.
Planning Board to move forward with, I believe it's P2025-0197. That's the master plan to be consistency as far as what was presented to us.
And I second that motion.
Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsky,
Yeah, for those members of the public who may have been a little disappointed in the last item on the agenda, maybe this gives you some solace. I vote aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
and Acting Chairwoman Gangadin.
Aye.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll take a 10 minutes break. So we'll be back. At this time, I would like to call in case P2024-0199, which is number 10 on the agenda. It's a minor site plan with a C variance, 10 Exchange Place. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Linda Herlihy. I'm with the firm of Riker Danzig, and we represent the applicant this evening. Before I start, Mr. Lampe, I have my...
I will take those. Thank you. Madam Chairman, receive the affidavit of publication, proof of mailing with respect to the application. This matter had been carried from a prior meeting back in July. Does appear to be in order. We're going to mark it as A1 for purposes of the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may proceed, Counsel.
Thank you. So this property is at 10 Exchange Place. It's located within the Exchange Place redevelopment area and fully developed with a 30-story building with ground floor commercial tenants. This application seeks minor site plan approval of a comprehensive sign program for the building that we hope will provide consistency among signs and remain flexible to address the needs of both our current tenants as well as future tenants as they come and go. The property is subject to the Exchange Place redevelopment plan, that plan having expired pursuant to its terms in or about 2017. The plan permitted signs that were customary to and commonly associated with the permitted use, all subject to planning board approval. As part of the application, you'll see that we've requested certain variances in connection with the signs that are proposed. And that was because the plan has expired and on the advice of city planning, we compared our proposed sign program to the requirements of the nearby Exchange Place North redevelopment plan and used that as an analysis of similar signs in the area for the basis of the comparison that we've made. Our architect who's here this evening will go through the signs in detail, but just by way of an overview, what we propose is our flush-mounted building facade signs and a blade-type sign for each of the retail commercial tenants on the ground floor. The total number of signs and the actual overall square footage would vary based upon the size of the tenant space and the number of tenants that we have at any one time. But we are proposing that the facade signs would be capped at no larger than 10% of the facade wall area. Again, larger or smaller, depending upon how large of a space that a tenant may occupy. We also propose a single monument sign to identify the building as well as certain of the office tenants in the building. That's located within the plaza area at a location that was discussed and previously approved with the Improvement Authority before they did the improvements to the plaza outside of the building. And we propose two what we call masthead signs at the top of the building. So I have two witnesses this evening, our architect and our planner. And we also have a representative of building management here for the board if they have any questions of ownership at any point in time. So if there's no other questions of me or any questions of the board, I'd call my first witness.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So Jeff Ellerbrock.
Do we have a computer here?
Sorry.
Good evening, Jeff Ellebrook with MDAS Architects. Oh, sorry.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And can you just spell your last name for me, please?
Ellebrock, it's ELLERBROCK.
Mr. Elbrock, did we qualify you before?
I have not been here before.
Okay, can you give us a brief history of your qualification?
Yes, I've been with MDAS Architects 21 years, licensed architect in New York and New Jersey, a Bachelor of Science and Master in Architecture degrees.
And is your license current?
Yes.
Thank you. You're qualified.
Is there anything I need to do to get that up? Here we go. Very good. Thank you.
Sir, if this was a slide made to be presented, we do need to mark it as A2. If this was in the submittal to the board, we do not need to mark it.
I believe
It's a combination?
It's similar, but it's updated from what was submitted to the board.
So let's mark it as
This-
A2,
Okay.
and just tell me how many slides.
Yeah, 20 slides, including the cover sheet here.
Okay.
As Linda outlined, there are 3 sign types that we're here to present for 10 Exchange Place. I do want to note this is part of a larger upgrade to the building that our office has been working on with ownership. It started in the lobby with upgraded finishes, lighting, and features there, which did create a more inviting lobby just as you come off the path entry there. So this is a continuation of that program that we had started years back. As you know, 10 Exchange on the banks of the Hudson, we have the PATH train entry points both as part of the building and also the isolated bulkhead at the river edge as well. So the front door, the primary entry to 10 Exchange is right as you come off the path. The building is accessed from all sides, parking lots within the building, also adjacent parking lots. So the side entry and the plaza to the north and the riverfront walkway make the building actually access from all sides, including the retail. And as a blow up here, we'll get into the sign component. So again, the primary front door to the east, secondary door here. Today, Gregory's Coffee occupies this corner retail. They have a signage a program already established there. UPS moving in here. There's a single retail space here, and to the north on Christopher Columbus Drive, a larger retail space, which is unoccupied today. This could become one larger retail or broken down into individual retail spaces, and part of the signage program will deal with each of those. The red elements that we see on the building face, these are the proposed blade signs that would project out 2 feet from the building. Again, depending on whether or not one tenant is here or multiple tenants here are here. That. Out here.
I think it just found it.
Stand over here. Thank you for your patience. I was talking with the red components here. These are the projecting blade signs that would flank either the ends for a single retailer, or if this was broken into individual retail storefronts, each pier would have a blade sign. Gregory's has a blade sign today. We'll show you this in a photo. And the single monument sign is proposed out here between the two entries to the building, and this would provide additional identification for the building address, and then also potential for tenants that are occupying the building. I mentioned, the program that we've been working on for a number of years. The image on the left was the entry to Ten Exchange 2017, 2018, and as part of the lobby renovation, the finishes inside are brighter. The lights have been refurbished, and there's a feature wall as you come in, so the entry has become much more inviting, and it's this this new organization that we've been trying to bring out to the signage to make it a clear base to the building. We'll go to the north elevation, Christopher Columbus Drive. The upper image is showing if that retail space would become a single tenant. If that's the case, the retail signs would be working on the two ends, so we would have the face sign that's mounted flush to the storefront, and then at the corner a projecting blade sign. If the storefront was to be divided into individual spaces, that same detail would be taken across each space. And then any variation in between, if this was broken into two, the signage would be at the two ends of each retail space. And then on the north side, this is where we do have the path entry that's very tight to the arcade. There are potential for three retail spaces here, one being UPS. Again, the same details. It's either blade signs on the two ends, a single retail or a single tenant sign at the middle, or individual signs for each storefront. I mentioned Gregory's. They're there today. They're at this is the corner, the southwest corner, southeast corner that they occupy now. This is the second building entry from the plaza. And then from the east, this image is really showing the projection of the blade signs. So if you're coming out, this is really the view coming out from the path station. Retail sign on the face, and then the projecting blade sign that would be on both the arcade side and then also the north elevation. So Gregory's there today. The signage ban that has been in place, and then their particular logo was placed, and these were loosely following some of the regulations that were in place. We're using this as a model for any new potential tenant signs so that we can keep it consistent around the building. Hard to see at this angle, but this is a projecting circular sign that they have for their logo that makes the space identified from both east and west. Looks a stick here. Went too fast. The view on the left, this is the same arcade on the south side. It's very tight. This is where the PATH train flanks the edge of the building. Signage on the face of the storefront is very difficult to see head on, given the proximity to the path entry. This is where the reason we're proposing the blade signs, so that logo, the tenant sign can be seen both from east and west as you're approaching this arcade. The same detail would be brought over to the north side. And the view out, this is between the two entries, the southeast corner of the building. This is where the waterfront improvements were made. This finished here. the greenery that was added to the edge of 10 Exchange. We see Gregory's Coffee there in the distance in the primary entry to the building on the right. I will note this work was done in coordination with the potential for the monument sign out here. These two in-ground lights were actually placed to provide the light for that potential sign outside the building at this location. And a view of the storefront today as it exists on the north. It's vacant today, so the glass is covered with advertising. The white band here, this opaque glass, is actually the floor level. And then what we're proposing, and much of what Gregory's had started, so removing that white opaque glass and replacing that with a painted metal panel, which would provide the backing for the retail, the tenant's signage. This band, 24 feet wide, about 2.5 feet tall, this would provide any of the face signage. So this zone, shown at 20 feet and just under 24, is roughly 9% of the total storefront area. This is shown just as retail, obviously generic, given until a tenant moves in. But any sign is going to fit within this white dashed line. Again, that's below the 10% of the total facade. Shown also on the side here would be the projecting blade signs, which we'll see in more detail here. A 2x2 square that projects off the face of the building, and that sign would either be the tenant name, small like this, or potentially the tenant logo, depending on the tenant and their logo. Both this sign and the preceding face sign are internally illuminated. The sides are dark, but the face would actually produce light. That sign would be tied into the tenant's hours, so once the store is closed, this light could be turned off. And the monument sign, we saw the image there where this is located. It's a combination of a painted metal structure and then a stainless steel logo, the 10 Exchange logo, and then the potential for tenant names just below that. You see in the image here, this is that in-ground light that is installed today. And that location is just off the edge of just beyond the arcade, next to that greenery, out of the way of the circulation on the waterfront promenade, but close enough that it's still signifying the building location. And here's a view of that. The third sign that we had mentioned is the mast sign, or the sign at the top of the building, the mechanical bulkhead. There's two scenarios here. It's a single tenant that could be on one or two sides, or two different tenants on both, one on the north and one on the south. We've designated a zone of 16 feet by 100 feet as the maximum size for that. We're showing a generic name, Anchor, for now just to fill in that zone, but this would be adjusted, giving the actual tenant name or their logo, but in no case would it extend larger than the size shown here. Here's just a view from the east, and then highlighting 10 Exchange there in red. And then a view of both daytime and evening of how that sign would work on the facade. And the goal here is to really provide recognition of the building, the potential for just more people to move in here, rather, given the tenant, the name of the tenant up on the building at the top here. And I think that is it.
So the tenant name will be on the top?
Yeah, it's a tenant. It depends. That tenant hasn't been identified, but
Right.
that would be at the top, on one side or both, and it could potentially be two tenants, one on the north and one on the south.
It would be a significant tenant in the building. It would be
Correct.
reserved for someone 100,000 square feet or so that would occupy space. That's
So if every floor has a different tenant, that's how it's going to be labeled?
No. One sign, it would be one, it would be one tenant potentially having that same name. If a large tenant took half the building, they would potentially be entitled to have their name on both sides, and they would be the only one, potentially, or it could be two. It would not be we're not proposing each floor have a name
Right.
such as this.
No, it would be the anchor tenant,
Right.
whoever that is, if
Right.
it's, MetLife insurance, and then, the building would become, yeah, it's naming rights on the building. Do you have a question? I do have two questions. The monument sign, where is that in relation to where the actual plaza that has just been redone? How far is the property line to the plaza? Does the plaza have any signage in their new improvements?
The plaza does not. This is within the building property line.
Right. But I guess the landscaping to the bottom of that page, is that part of the plaza, or is that part of
This is part of the waterfront here.
your
The property line is right through here.
As part of the plaza improvements, there was an agreement with the property owner and the improvement authority where certain plaza improvements were installed on what is our property.
Okay.
To make it appear cohesive.
Right.
And that's why, at the time, we anticipated proposing a monument sign, and that's why the lights are there. So we coordinated with them so that it didn't interfere with any of their plaza improvements, and it was installed in advance so that, to the extent, should it be approved by this board, we wouldn't have to rip up the work that they had already done. So that's why that's.
Well, and that answers my question. The Exchange Place did the improvements to the plaza. They were here on a Section 31 before they obviously did that. So I just wanted to confirm that there is no conflict.
Correct.
And that the Exchange Place Alliance, I guess, is aware of.
It was actually
and
part of the
is-
agreement that it contemplated the monument sign would be placed there.
Second question is Gregory's blade sign a circle?
It is, yeah. So
But now we're going to go to squares on the other blade signs?
that's the purple, yeah.
What was the design thought behind that?
Gregory's has a circle in their logo, and I think that's part of it. That's actually a sign they use at a lot of their stores. We found the square to be a bit more accommodating, so a couple different tenants, and the square profile versus the circle looked better on the building, so it was an aesthetic thing from our end. That is a slight deviation from the Gregory's that's there.
And counsel, if a tenant wanted a circle because it goes with their logo, I'm thinking of a Lululemon or somebody like that has the circle, they would have to come back, obviously, to get a circle from a square?
Correct. But we do propose to leave Gregory's. They're
Right.
existing. We don't want,
Right.
not intending to, yeah.
I have another question. The sign, like across the storefronts, the black, yeah. So you're saying the retail has to fit inside those parameters?
It fits within the white dash line here. Again,
they-
retail, it could be longer than retail. In no case would it be higher than 2 feet, but it could span wider than what the retail sign is showing now.
And just like the Gregory's Coffee, would they be able to obviously fit their branding, like their logo, right?
So so if it's a really long name, they
Yeah,
would
how-
have to reduce the size of the font so that it would actually fit between the two ends.
Okay.
Gregory's is actually a good example. It's probably twice as long as the retail sign that's shown here now. So it does fill up more of the storefront, or more of that band. And to clarify, that white dash line is just under 10% of the total facade area there.
Is there a world where like a certain retailer's logo is compromised by that space and it looks like, I guess my question is like a dysfunctioned logo?
I get what you're saying. I think it's the case then is the logo, does that become something that's part of the projecting blade? And then the text fits within here. We've
Right.
had cases, other buildings where, we've had to work, we've had parameters and they had to accommodate to that. So
Okay.
I'm trying to think of an actual retailer that would have that issue, but there's no, we're not interested in putting a larger sign here. Again, that's why the blade sign produces that opportunity for that,
Okay.
that one-off logo.
Gotcha.
Can we go back to the monument sign?
For the record.
Yeah, I just want us to take a look at that again. And do you have that in front of the building or?
Yeah,
side of the
here.
building? I want to see what it looks like.
So the two lights that are installed today, that would be in between, on each side of the monument sign.
I mean, I don't want to be nitpicky, but it doesn't do anything for me. You got a beautiful building, it's doing a lot, and then the sign is just, I don't know. I don't know, what do you think, Madam Chair? How do you feel about that place? You like it?
I mean, we don't get into aesthetics like that. I think it's intentionally and classically understated. I like that, right? It serves its purpose without detracting or calling attention to itself, which I think aesthetically, from my point of view, the other signs do. But that, I think all of that is very subjective, and I think is beyond what maybe we should be focused on in terms of, the proposal. But
No, I understand. I'm just curious.
so, counsel, my only concern is this building is the 10 Exchange Place building. I think that's how we all view it. I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but
No, you're absolutely right.
to me, it's an iconic building in and of itself. And, I like Yankee Stadium. I don't like MetLife Stadium.
It's a matter of opinion.
Not the venue, right?
I like it when it's green, I don't like it when it's blue, but I know. It's not the intent to rename the building. While the masthead sign would be, for the anchor tenant, we're proposing the monument sign because we do want the 10 Exchange Place name to be there. This is 10 Exchange Place. We're not renaming the building with a tenant.
Until we do,
And
right?
yes.
So we do.
That's, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not clear about that either. For me, it looks like it's renaming the building. Kim, any suggestion?
There are other buildings in the city that have similar practices with signage. I'm blanking at the moment, but we did. I was a review planner on a Newport application where we did. I believe it was J.P. Morgan actually, and they did their I don't know what it is, a pentagram with J.P. Morgan giant logo on top, and the board approved it. We do it, and it was for the anchor tenant. So if the board doesn't like it, they could ask that it's removed, but I will say that we have approved it. We have done these before, and planning staff doesn't feel that there's any detriment to the zone plan or the public's general welfare, well-being when we do signage like this. So it's up to the board.
And I would just note that we do also, because we propose the two signs, it could likely be two different
Names?
two different very large tenants, which would also detract from renaming it to one or the other.
That's what I was alluding to. That concludes your presentation?
Yes.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
No.
Okay. At this time, I would like to open for public. I'm sorry, you finished?
another witness?
I'm a planner, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Okay.
I don't need to plug in. Can I just go out up there? Thank you. Hi, good evening, Madam Chairman. Yes. I do. Sure, my name is Kate Keller. My last name is Keller.
Ms. Keller, did we qualify you before?
It's been about a year, I believe, but I have been before this board before. I'm a principal with the firm of Phillips Price, Greigel, Laney, Keller, based in Hoboken.
And is your license current and in
Yes,
good
it is.
standing? Okay, you're qualified.
Great, thank you very much. So I'm going to be brief tonight because this is kind of a unique application in that there is not really a technical variance required because there is really not a redevelopment plan currently valid here, as Ms. Hurley explained. But tonight, I think that what you've seen is a presentation that proposes 3 different types of signage that are really in alignment with the needs of this particular building. This is a high-rise building. It's an iconic waterfront building in Jersey City. And, you know, with all of the challenges in the office space market these days, I think that the idea of the signs up top, the masthead signs, is really meant to promote this building and give it not promote the building, but just really to give it an advantage with leasing and tenants and acquiring new tenants. At the same time, you know, it also has multiple frontages, but the frontages are not all on public streets. Some of them are on the public plaza, and that is part of the reason for we're asking for the blade signs, to make sure that people can identify those storefronts. And then finally, the monument sign is for a similar reason, because, you know, with the building of this scale, when you're standing there at the plaza, you might not know exactly that you're in front of 10 Exchange Place because you can't see all the way up. So I think this is really a plan that is in accordance with the idea of the redevelopment plans and all of the new development and upgrades around the Exchange Place area. So, you know, I see no negative detriments associated with this to the zone plan and zoning ordinance or to the public good. I think it benefits wayfinding. I think it benefits the aesthetic upgrades of the area. I think it promotes the purposes of zoning, particularly Purpose A, general welfare, in that it supports the leasing and the use of this building. Purpose G, which is aesthetic purposes, and then also provides for directional of pedestrian traffic around the area. So that is really my testimony. I think that it really represents a better planning and zoning alternative than what's there today. So I'm happy to answer any questions. No. Thank you.
I don't have any further witnesses.
I see there's no one from the public, Madam Chair. I'll have to close it.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Cam?
So planning staff would firstly ask that the applicant's attorney agree to the conditions stated in the planning staff memo dated April 2nd of this year.
Yeah, I've reviewed that. I just have one question or just one clarification
Okay.
with respect to number 1.
Mhm.
And the affidavit, is it with respect to the final building constructed or ultimately the signs that are to be installed?
Ultimately, the
Okay,
signs are to be
yeah,
installed,
we have
yeah.
no issue.
Okay, and we'll correct that for the resolution to reflect, that's standard language we put in there, sorry.
Yep, no, that's fine.
So planning staff agrees with the testimony provided by the applicant's professional planner. Staff agrees. We believe there's no detriment to the zone plan, zoning ordinance, or the city's master plan. In regard to the anchor tenant signage, staff agrees that the
What happened?
commercial office space is becoming a more difficult rental occupancy for buildings across the city, and this does help to make those spaces more attractive to rentals. So ultimately, planning staff recommends approval.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve case P2024 dash, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm in good shape. P240 dash 0199.
And I will second that motion.
Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
and Acting Chair Gongadin.
Aye.
Motion carries all in favor with conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call in case P2025-0048, preliminary and final major site plan with variances, 590 Grand Street.
Thank you. If we could also call the case after that as well. We're going to present those together.
Okay, that's case number P2023-0107, preliminary major site plan and preliminary and major site plan with variances. Address is 590 Grand Street.
Great, thank you. Stephen Joseph Casano Quigley Trami for the applicant. I do have notices here, but if council will indulge me, I think to understand procedurally what we're doing here, I'm just going to do a brief introduction, and then we'll enter the notices for each application. So the proposed project here is 3 phases with a subdivision. Phase 1 is going to be a 6-story building with 60 units. Phase 2 is going to be 6 stories with 60 units. Phase 3 will be 6 stories with 115 units. It's all mixed-use commercial on the ground floor. We're requesting quite a few things tonight. So preliminary major subdivision approval, just preliminary, not final. That's one of the applications. We will come back to get the final approval at the end of phase 1. And that's for the widening of Grand Street. There will be a portion of Grand Street dedicated to the city that requires a major subdivision. We're requesting preliminary major site plan approval for all 3 phases. And then the only final approval we're seeking tonight is for phase 1. So, and we have a couple of variances and design waivers for a stilted building, a loading space depth, and a landscape buffer. So with that, we do have 2 notice packages this evening. One is for the preliminary major subdivision, and the other one is for the preliminary site plan approval, the final on phase 1, and the variance relief. So if we could enter that into evidence, please.
We didn't get to any. No, we haven't gotten there yet. 14's the carryover. 14, 17. Hold on, wait a minute. 22 and 23. Okay. Good.
Madam Chair, I receive the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to 590 Grand Street. We are going to mark the notice package for preliminary major subdivision as A1. And we are going to mark the notice package for the preliminary major site plan for in phases 1, 2, and 3, with C variances as A2. And that's also going to be for the final major site plan of a phase 1.
Thank you, council. So the other thing that you need to know about this project is it was part of a recent redevelopment plan amendment. So this is the mixed-use F zone. In order to take advantage of this zone, which encourages the consolidation of zones formerly in the industrial zone of Morris Canal and creating mixed-use development there, There's a few things the developer has to do, which we are doing. One is the expanding of the public right-of-way, meaning Grand Street will be expanded. You'll see what that looks like. We have to provide 10% affordable housing, which is part of phase 1 will be 6 units. The overall project will be 24 affordable units. And we have to make certain other improvements in the right-of-way, which includes a cycle track, so extension of a bike lane on the other side of Grand Street from our property. So we're going to start with civil this evening because I think it makes more sense to see the project in its phases first. Let's bring up Trevor. We'll get him sworn in and we'll walk through that.
You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name?
My name is Trevor Curtis, Trevor Curtis.
Mr. Curtis, did you testify in front of this board before?
About 5 years ago, I did, but most recently in front of the zoning board in Jersey City.
Okay. Would you give us a brief background of your qualification?
Sure. I have a bachelor's in science and civil engineering from Rutgers University. I graduated in 2013. I've been a licensed professional civil engineer in the state of New Jersey since 2018. I've appeared before numerous boards in Hudson County, Bergen County, all throughout New Jersey, and my license is currently in good standing.
Thank you. You're qualified.
All right, Trevor, let's set up your laptop so we can present the plans. Just make sure that you're talking to the microphone. Ready?
Good.
All right. So, Trevor, I think you did prepare just a colorized version of the site plan, which we could enter as A3. If you want to pull that up first, just so we could see the big picture, and then we'll go through it phase by phase. So if you could just describe it, give a date of it, and we could enter it.
This is essentially a colorized version of the overall Phase 3 site plan that was prepared in the civil set submitted to the board. The only difference is this is colorized. All the information appearing on the plan remains the same. So the date is revision number 4, July 22nd, 2025.
Thank you, Trevor.
A3.
A3.
A3, council, yes.
Thank you, council. All right, Trevor, take it away.
Okay, so we marked the exhibit, but I think, before I get into all of the proposed improvements, I'll quickly go back to the civil set that was provided to the board as part of this application. This is sheet C 1.0, which identifies the existing conditions on the site. The site is about 1.5 acres and consists of mainly light industrial uses located at the intersection of Fairmont, Grand Street, and Johnston Avenue. The existing site has somewhat dilapidated concrete sidewalk and curbing areas located around the perimeter of the property. There's a rather large asphalt parking lot in the central portion of the site with 3 existing buildings, one at the intersection of Fairmont Avenue and Grand Street, and then 2 on Johnston Avenue. Under existing conditions, there are a large number of curb cuts, about 8, with about 2 or 3 existing curb cuts located at the intersection of Fairmont Avenue and Grand Street. Under proposed conditions, we would remove all of the curb cuts and replace them with one singular curb cut on Johnston Avenue, as I'll show you in the proposed colorized site plan, which I'll jump back to. So this plan identifies the full site improvements for all three phases. And I thought it was important to show what the site will look like after phase 1, 2, and 3 are completed, just to identify what each of the buildings are and which phase they're in. Phase 1 will be the proposed building located on Fairmont Avenue, a 6-story, 60-unit structure that is identified as Building 1, Phase 1. Phase 2 is the building located on Johnston Avenue, which is also a 6-story and 60-unit structure. Phase 3 would be located along Grand Street, and that is a 115-unit, 6-story structure. The improvements for Phase 1 would include parking, as well as the majority of the streetscape improvements, the only exception being the portion of the right-of-way on Johnston Avenue in front of Building 2. So the majority of the improvements for the streetscape will be constructed as part of the construction of the first building on Fairmont Avenue. In addition to that, as part of the requirements from the board, the road widening of Grand Street will be completed under Phase 1. So I just wanted to show the board what the proposed development will look like, and then we can go into each of the phases separately to identify each zoning requirement as well as improvements. I'll quickly jump back to the civil plan set and jump to the phasing plan, which roughly identifies the areas of improvements, most importantly for our preliminary and final site plan approval, Phase 1, which identifies the building along Fairmont Avenue, as well as highlighted in red all the improvements that will be included in Phase 1. I have a glitch here. Okay. Sheet C 2.2 identifies the improvements that would be included in Phase 1. This shows that the proposed building is located on Fairmont Avenue under Phase 1 and includes partially covered parking within the central portion of the site, as well as all of the streetscape improvements along Fairmont Avenue, Grand Street, and Johnston Avenue. As part of this, the majority of the curb cuts, with the exception of 2 on Johnston Avenue, will be removed and replaced with 1 new driveway to access the site, while the remaining uses on Johnston Avenue on the western portion of the project, page left, will remain during Phase 1. There's a portion of the site in the central portion that identifies a construction area. So I think one of the questions that was brought up is what this would look like after the improvements are constructed and the Grand Street road widening is performed. So that Grand Street road widening is about 14 feet wide, and that is to accommodate a new bike lane on the eastern portion of Grand Street. After the road widening is completed and the streetscape improvements are completed, there will be a void of land left over within the middle of the site, which would be adequately fenced and buffered with evergreen trees until subsequent phases of the development are completed. Under this phase, we identified three variances. One is the stilted building, which the architect will go over during his testimony. The second is the loading space dimensions, which are located where my cursor is on the plan within the parking lot. And the third is the buffer to lots located, I believe they're 8 through 11, located on this portion of the site. And the requirements for the buffer is 5 feet, whereas the existing conditions is less than 5 feet. So we noted these variances.
Trevor, if you don't mind just zooming in
Yes.
to that area just so we get a better look.
So the requirements for the loading zone are 10 by 45, I believe. And we're proposing 12 by 22.75.
Trevor, I'm sorry, but while we're here, we did get a traffic review letter, which did have a comment about the the loading zone. The traffic review letter was based on a prior version of the plans. If you want to just explain how we're addressing that, there were some concerns about the maneuverability of a truck into that loading zone and potentially blocking a parking space.
Yeah, so I took a look at the traffic comments, and these comments were issued on an older civil plan set. During the time after that letter was issued, we had significant coordination with PSE&G. PSE&G is requiring transformers, so parking along where the loading dock was adjusted to accommodate that transformer. There was leftover area, which I gave to the loading zone to facilitate turning movements of a vehicle. And then if a vehicle was loading in that area and blocked the other space, I would recommend that management assign that space to an employee parking only space or somebody who's managing the building itself to facilitate any blocking of vehicles trying to maneuver out of that space.
Thank you, Trevor. And you said loading dock. I just want to clarify. It's not
loading
a dock.
zone.
Loading
Sorry.
Thank you.
Loading zone.
All right. Thank you, Trevor. Continue.
And
Council, do we have a sheet regarding the subdivision?
We do. Would you like to start
Let's
there?
go there.
Sure.
And just show it.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
don't want people to get confused with what appears on that sheet.
Yeah. So it's very simple and just the requirements of the plan were 14 feet of width, minimum 3,500 square feet. I believe this is proposing 3,700 square feet and change. It is just preliminary, so that number could shift a little bit as long as it meets the requirements of the redevelopment plan, and then we will be back here for the final subdivision and subsequent perfection. We also have to
So-
dedicate that to the city.
What sheet are you showing us?
this is the preliminary subdivision plat prepared by the surveyor. So the green area identifies the land that will be dedicated or given to the city as part of the road widening.
So that's currently the applicant's property, and it is being subdivided off and dedicated to the city for purposes of widening Grand Street.
Correct.
And that does not carry around on Fairmount or on Johnston.
A small piece of the arc to complete the property line occurs on Fairmont Avenue, but essentially it is a 14-foot offset from the existing property line to accommodate a new bike line on the other side, a bike lane on the other side of the street.
So Phase 1 was the 60-unit building on Fairmount Avenue,
Yes.
and after Phase 1 is constructed, or while Phase 1 is constructed, the improvements along the street are going to be installed,
Yes, correct.
and then Phase 3 will be constructed after those improvements already exist and Grand Street has been widened. Is that
Correct.
accusation?
The Phase 3 improvements are designed to post roadway dedication.
Are we consolidating all of the lots at the time of approval, council?
Correct. Yes, we are consolidating all the lots at the time of the approval.
And the roadway dedication is part of the requirement under the code?
Under the redevelopment plan,
Under
yes.
the redevelopment plan.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions about the subdivision? Okay.
All right, thank you, council. So Trevor, if we go back to phase 1,
Okay, so just to finish up on Phase 1, so we are constructing nearly all of the streetscape improvements along Fairmont Avenue, Grand Street, and a large portion of Johnston Avenue. That includes street trees, which I count 18 new street trees, as well as new lights, the city's standard decorative post-op fixture, as well as various plantings on site. And I'll get into total numbers once we get back to the final phase, but I just want to identify that improvements are being made to the streetscape as part of this phase, because this is for final approval.
So I just think before we move on to phase 2, if there's any questions about phase 1, since this is the final approval as well, the next 2 phases are just preliminary. We could address that now. Bless you.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay.
So far, no.
Great.
Sheet 2.3 identifies the second phase of the development, which essentially leaves the Grand Street area where Building 3 is as a temporary stabilized construction area. And the Phase 2 building along Johnston Avenue is constructed, the expansion of the surface parking, and the completion of the streetscape on Johnston Avenue. Now, I'd like to note the light blue hatch that you see on the plan is a pervious pavement system. As part of our green area ratio as well as DEP approval, we've designed the site to achieve peak rates of runoff reductions for the 2, 10, and 100-year storm events for each individual phase. So pervious pavements being constructed as part of phase 1 with all the downstream connections to the storm sewers in the street. On the subsequent phase 2, we will connect the pervious pavement systems, and again on phase 3, additional pervious pavement will be constructed, and all of these in each phase will achieve the DEP requirements for a major development on stormwater management, as well as the city's requirements for peak rates of reduction, which a significant improvement under existing conditions, which currently has no known stormwater management facilities. I'll jump back to phase 3, which is the colorized version. So again, you'll see the full site build out here. We are significantly overparked in accordance with the ordinance. We're proposing 70 parking spaces, whereas 16 are required. Bike parking is provided in compliance with the city's requirements and will be discussed during the architectural testimony where bike parking is provided. Again, you'll see I didn't include the hatch on this plan, but the dark blue outline shows the full extent of the pervious pavement within the parking areas, as well as all the landscaping throughout the site that's being proposed. In total, there are, 51 new shade trees or evergreen trees provided, and 22 of them are street trees. We have 86 shrubs with a total of 137 new plantings on site or within the right-of-way. The pervious pavement area is about 10,000 square feet, which accommodates about 12,000 or 13,000 cubic feet of runoff. Again, a significant improvement in particular for Jersey City, where you have combined sewers. Reducing runoff that significantly not only improves our property, but every property within the area. A flood-prone area, which this site is, in Zone AE for the FEMA flood mapping. These areas are particularly prone to nuisance flooding, so the stormwater runoff is a huge mitigating factor for nuisance flooding, where combined sewers are overtaxed by rainfall events. Additionally, we've incorporated it's a light red hatch. It's like a cross hatch around the entire property, which indicates mill and overlay for the entire intersection of Johnston Avenue, Grand Street, and Fairmont Avenue post-construction after phase 1, I believe I indicated. These areas are milled and overlaid, but also including new striping within the rights-of-ways. So I think it's important to note that not only are we widening the street, we're mill and overlaying and providing new striping as well.
And Trevor, we did get some comments from traffic about the details regarding the striping. You have no issue with that, right?
I have no issues with working with the city's transportation department on any details of striping for the proposed development.
Thank you. And Trevor, if you don't mind just saying a couple words on the cycle track.
So I've been to the site a number of times, and I was actually out there today just to make sure nothing has changed. The cycle track, in my opinion, is a huge benefit. There are people right now riding their bikes to connect to the existing green circuit or cycle track, which is just north of the property on Grand Street. So people are riding their bikes in the public right-of-way, essentially right adjacent to an existing lane. So the cycle track, which provides a north and south direction of travel, 6-foot wide width for each one, as well as a buffer between the travel lanes and the cycle track, is a huge benefit in my opinion. So that roadway dedication completed at the end of phase 1 is a benefit.
All right. Thank you, Trevor.
So I just have a quick question here. So the parking spots, you have 72 parking spaces. Is this for the retail or the commercial spaces?
It's for both. So the requirement, we're significantly over on the requirements. So I don't know if they're designating spaces, but the requirement is, let me zoom in.
And to follow up with that, is the parking
Appears to be
spaces
9.
compromising the loading space depth?
So I briefly touched on that before. I don't know if it's really as big of an issue as it sounds. That space, because we're so overparked, that space could be designated as employee parking only, where management can facilitate whether a car is parked there or not. And if a truck came in to load and somebody was trying to leave, so I think that's the most important aspect, in my opinion. A car can be parked there and the truck load, but if the car tried to leave, it couldn't leave. So I think that the management aspect of designating that space as employee parking only would mitigate any negative impact to the vehicle circulation of that truck.
Yeah, and the applicant has agreed to do that. So if Trevor, you could just tell us what the required and proposed is for the completed project. And because that may or may not change when we come back for final, if you could show us just the final.
Of what, council?
The parking counts, I apologize.
So I have it identified here. Building 1's required 4 spaces total for commercial and residential. Building 2 is required 2 spaces, and building 3 is required 10 spaces. So we're proposing 70, which is significantly more, and I think it's, the zoning requirement excludes, it exempts the first certain amount of square footage for the ground floor retail for all the phases. But it was our goal to provide as much parking as possible. Obviously, parking in Jersey City is at a premium, so that was essentially our goal. And utilizing that pervious pavement, that green infrastructure, really helps us achieve a better, sustainability of a site, even though we're providing asphalt. And just to move further on that, we are eliminating a lot of asphalt under existing conditions, and the majority of these spaces will be covered by roof runoff, which is clean runoff. So we are, providing a surplus of parking for the ordinance, as well as reducing, pollutants into the system, providing that green infrastructure, and reducing peak rates of runoff, all with adding these parking spaces.
And Trevor, just the proposed parking spaces for phase 1 for the final we're seeking tonight.
We transition back to the plan set.
You had said 4 was required, and just what we're proposing, and then maybe just for the commissioner's benefit, zoom in again on the loading zone conflict.
So building 1's required 4 spaces. We have 16 proposed for phase 1. And if I zoom in to the loading zone, I have an oversized width of the loading zone, but the length obviously required is much more than 22.75. So we are overparked
And can you,
significantly.
just with the, maybe with the cursor, just identify the parking space where the conflict is that we're going to just dedicate as employees only?
So this, sorry,
Closest to the loading zone.
That's right.
sorry, it's jumping around on me. It's the closest space to the loading zone, which was identified in the traffic letter.
The diagonally hatched area is that loading zone.
Yes.
To follow up on my question as well, is there any parking space allocating for the affordable housing?
Not at not at this time. I don't think the breakdown of the parking has been determined yet. It's we did submit an affordable housing checklist to affordable housing. They signed off on it, and we let them know how many parking spaces we have. And it's I believe it's going to be first come first serve for the parking.
Okay. Any questions from the board? No?
Madam Chair, I don't see any questions from the board.
No.
That
Okay.
concludes your
Great.
presentation.
Thank you. So we're going to bring Ted Hammer up now, our architect. This was designed with consistency among all the buildings, but again, 2 and 3 are just preliminary, so we will be back on those. Phase 1 is the final, so Ted is going to go into some level of detail on 1, and then more quickly go through phases 2 and 3,
Okay.
unless there's any specific questions.
Thank you.
Is the, yeah.
Into the microphone. All right, Ted. Raise your hand.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For the record, can you state your name?
Theodore Hammer, TheodoreHammер.
Thank you,
Mr.
Ted.
Hammer, did we qualify you in the past?
Yes, I've
You?
testified often.
Okay. Is your license current and in good standing?
Absolutely.
Thank you. You're qualified.
Thank you.
All right, how you doing, Ted?
Never better.
Okay. So
Great.
so there was a rendering error with some of the elevations on the architectural plans when we submitted them. The conversion from the CAD to the PDF just messed some things up. So we're going to enter this as an exhibit, A4. Ted, if you can just describe it and say how many pages it is, it's substantively the same as what was submitted. It just corrects those rendering errors.
That's right. You've seen this. You know where the site is.
Ted, just identify the like how many pages it is and the date of the plans, if you don't mind.
I definitely don't mind.
And just for clarification, the rendering error was on the elevations of the plans.
So it's dated September 1st, 23.
And how many total pages?
Total pages are, no idea.
You just scroll all the way down.
There's 40 pages.
Mr. Hammer, does it have a revision date?
I believe it does.
We're not going through all 40 pages, but it is 40 pages.
I think it might be in the top right of your title bar there,
So
Mr.
it's-
Hammer.
40 pages is all 3 phases. So we're gonna spend time on phase 1, and then because it's just preliminary, things could change, and we will be back for the final on 2 and 3.
Understood.
Yeah, there you go.
February 4th, 2025.
Thank you, Council.
A4.
A4. Thank you. All right, Ted.
Thanks. All right, so you've heard about the site plans. Let's talk about the buildings. Here, the vital statistics are that, as you've heard, we have 60 units in Phase 1, 60 in Phase 2, and 115 units in Phase 3. Phase 1 has 15 studios, for about 25%, 31 one-bedrooms for about 51%, 12 two-bedrooms, and 2 three-bedrooms, which are only about 4%. The sizes of the units are quite good. The studios are about 471 square feet. One-bedrooms range from about 666 to 724. Two bedrooms are about 954, and the three-bedroom is 1,061. So they're good size, and we'll take a look at the plans in a few minutes. As noted, the affordables are 24 for the entire complex and 6 in the first phase. The buildings are masonry, brick. They have 3 colored brick, a lighter color on the top, a middle tone in the middle, and on the ends, they have a darker brick in a pattern that is sort of a sawtooth that gives a texture to the building, not just a flat feeling. This is a view from Grand Street, sort of turning the corner and seeing Phase 1 on the right, Phase 3 on the left. These are 2 other perspectives showing the one on the right is the corner of Grand and Johnston, looking down Johnston. And the rendering on the left is Johnston showing Phase 2 on the right and Phase 3 on the left rather, and Phase 3 on the right. You can see that at the corners of the buildings, there's some cornices that give some variety to the buildings and give some interest to what are Phase 1 and 2 rather small buildings, but Phase 3 is a good-sized building running the length of Grand Street and that needs some breaking up to give it some human scale. Let's see. Now on the floor plans, here's the ground floor plan of the 3-building complex. Phase 1 is the upper building, of course, and you'll note that the entries and retail face Fairmont, of course. The parking for this phase and for all phases, some of it is underneath the building, covered. So it's well protected and easy access. Access is also from the middle portion of the site. So you can get to the buildings from the street as well as your parking area.
And Ted, that's one of the variances we're seeking this evening, correct, for the stilted building?
Right, so you can see that,
Do you want me to
hmm?
Do you want me to do this for you and you can talk to the microphone, or you got it? No.
I'm a pro at this. You can see that the front portion, half the building faces the street, the other half facing the rear holds the parking area. And those parking area, of course, is open and are up on columns that you can see. So it qualifies as a stilt building. However, you don't see it straight on, you see it obliquely. So although the building is up on stilts, you can see that you see it rather obliquely and through some landscaping.
Yeah.
Here you can see a ramp that takes you from street level, which is about, let's call it 8, all the way up to 12.6, which is the finished elevation of the floor, and 12 foot, which is the finished elevation of the parking in the center of the site.
Yeah, and Ted, just for clarity, the whole building's not stilted. It's just the rear of the building where the parking is.
Right.
Correct?
The front of the facades touch the street level, facing all three streets, Fairmont, Grand. We have 2 retail spaces in Phase 1, each about 1,100 square feet. Again, accessible from the street as well as the rear. In a more operational aspect, we have our trash comes down in a chute. There's a compactor, and it's taken out directly to the street. We have 2 bicycle storage areas over here as well as here, and those are accessed from the rear and then can go out to the street from the rear. Our entrance to the residential portion is, again, from the street as well as from the parking area. So we have good access from both directions.
Mr. Hammer, what kind of mechanicals are we proposing in the building?
These are going to be PTAC units integrated into the facade of the building. Let me show you an elevation.
Do we have any balconies?
There are balconies in the rear of the building, 4 foot wide, that most units have. Let me, again, show you the elevation. These are the street elevations. This is the rear elevation. You can see the balconies.
And we could also get a good view of the how the building is still.
Balcony?
Pardon?
Zoom in.
On the balcony? That's a question Eddie always asks.
The space below the balcony. What's the space below the balcony?
The
Bottom-
the
bottom-
railing.
The railing, bottom rail.
Ted, I think prior to this presentation, we did discuss about the space on the bottom of the balcony so things can't get kicked off. You recall that? On the railing?
The railing, the bottom piece of the railing.
Right.
Is there
How
a
many
space?
inches?
Yeah, 4 inches.
All right, could you make that 3?
Pardon?
Could you make that 3?
Yes,
We have a board member who's not here tonight, who would tell you to make it 3.
Yeah.
you have a deal.
Okay.
What about the spacing in between? Is there like, are those like bars in between?
Yeah, they're spindles.
Would that
The-
matter? No.
The railings, they're aluminum railings. They have spacing of the balusters of 4 inches so that a child can't
Okay,
be in danger.
great.
And we're going to lower the bottom rail from 4 to 3 inches.
Agreed.
And the stilted part of the building is obviously shown in the rear elevation B1, and that's obviously from the parking area.
Yes, the balconies face the parking.
Are we proposing rooftop amenities, Mr. Hammer?
There, at the present time, there are no rooftop amenities. On
Okay,
the first floor, there's a lounge and a fitness facility.
right. Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Hammer?
No.
All right. And the other two buildings are comparable, but again, we'll be back here for the final site plan on.
Yeah, the other two
on those.
buildings use the same materials, but there is a variety in each building to give it some distinction.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ted. So we do have Sam here this evening for some very brief planning testimony. We're going to be very brief because everyone keeps reminding me there is a Yankee game right now.
Yes, I do. Samuel Bellamy, last name Bellamy.
Mr. Bellamy, is your license still current? and in
Yes,
good
current and
standing?
in good standing.
You're qualified.
Great, thank you.
Do you know the score of the Yankee game, Mr. Bellamy?
No, and I'm
Before
a
you
Cubs
proceed.
fan, so.
Should've got the score before
Come
you
on.
That's it.
All right, so getting right into the variance relief. So we are asking for the stilted buildings. That does apply to each building as part of the phases. That's a variance from the Jersey City Land Development Ordinance. We're also asking for the minimum loading space depth dimensions. That applies to a loading space in phase 1 as well as a loading space in phase 3. And then we also have a bulk deviation for the parking location minimum landscape buffer. So in regards to the stilted buildings, as testified to by our architect, it is in the rear of the building. The front of the buildings all have active uses, so you have the residential lobbies, the retail spaces, and really the visibility of the actual stilted building aspect is very minimal. It's from the oblique angle from the corner as well as up the driveway, so it's really not visible at all from the streetscape. As well as this is a corner lot with 3 frontages. The interior of the lot faces industrial buildings in the industrial zone of the redevelopment plan. So with that, I don't think there's any substantial detriment to adjacent properties. The redevelopment plan also permits surface landscape parking as well as parking beneath buildings. So I think the stilted building aspect is contemplated within the redevelopment plan, provided that it's screened with active uses, which we are doing here. For the loading depths, loading zone space depths, we're proposing one at 22.75 feet deep. That loading space is 12 feet wide, so it is wider than the requirement of 9 feet, but it's short of the 40-foot deep dimension. The other space is 10 feet wide by 22 feet. So again, that's consistent with the width, but short of the 40-foot depth dimension. Finally, we have the minimum landscape buffer requirement. There's a 5-foot landscape buffer around parking areas. We're predominantly consistent with that, with the exception of the rear property line that's adjacent to an industrial building. That lot is completely developed with a 1-story industrial building, and again, that's in an industrial zone of the redevelopment plan, so it's not adjacent to any other residential rear yard areas, and with that, I don't see any substantial detriment on that adjacent property. Again, I think that the project itself is proposing substantial landscaping both throughout the streetscape as well as within the parking area itself, and the benefits here would outweigh the detriments. Just to go over some overall benefits of the project, we are replacing the existing non-conforming light industrial uses, the car wash at the corner of Grand Street, and making substantial streetscape improvements. As Mr. Joseph mentioned, this was part of a redevelopment plan amendment. This project is directly in line with what the mixed-use F zone calls for. It's a permitted density, it's a permitted height, and meets all the setback requirements. With that, I think the project does advance the purposes of the municipal land use law. I think it's an appropriate use and development of the property consistent with Purpose A. Again, it's a permitted use, mixed-use building along this mixed-use corridor on Grand Street. It's also permitted density and promotes a appropriate population density consistent with Purpose E. I think the overall improvements here do promote a desirable visual environment consistent with Purpose I. I don't see any substantial detriment to the general welfare here. Again, I think this is a perfect example of a redevelopment project, a substantial redevelopment project that will improve this mixed-use corridor. The project was designed to provide adequate light, air, and open space and minimize any impacts on adjacent properties. I likewise don't see a substantial impairment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance. Again, I think this project is square in the line with the purpose of the MUF zone. It's providing for the widening of Grand Street. It's adding the cycle track along Grand Street, and it's providing for affordable housing. Likewise, I think this project is also consistent with the purposes of the municipal master plan. That would conclude my direct testimony, I think, but I would be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
No.
Thank you. That does conclude our direct testimony. Apologize for taking so long, maybe just overcompensating for last hearing's appearance, but it is an important project, very prominent corner in Jersey City, and we're trying to do this the right way. So thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to open for the public. Is there anyone from the public?
Madam Chair, I see no one from the public. To close that portion.
Thank you. Matt?
Second?
I'll just remind the board that there's a preliminary major subdivision here, and then a site plan application which consists of a Phase 1 preliminary and final major site plan with variances, and a preliminary major site plan for the Phase 2 and 3 also with variances. So when it comes time for the board to consider a motion, that we consider making 2 motions, subdivision first, site plan second. The staff prepared 2 memos, one for each of these components of this project. The subdivision application or memo was dated June 23rd, 2025, and the site plan memo was dated July 21st, 2025. In both of those memos, staff does recommend conditions. We just ask that the applicant comply, put on the record that they will comply with those conditions.
Yes, the applicant accepts those conditions along with the balcony condition if it wasn't already addressed in our latest resubmission. And that the condition is to reduce the height of the balcony from 4 inches to 3.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Joseph. This application consists of 3 buildings with affordable housing, meeting the other requirements of this zone to widen the road on Grand Street and extend the cycle track 1 block further, all the way to Johnston Avenue, which is will facilitate a connection in the where there's currently a gap in our protected bike lane network. So that was a major goal in advancing this amendment when it first came before the board and city council, and they're fulfilling that with the completion of this first phase. The applicant worked with staff on comments regarding the site plan, the phasing, as well as the architecture of the building. They've put on the proofs for regarding their variances. Staff recognizes those and agrees with their findings. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I would like to entertain a motion for item 11 on the agenda. Case B2025.
Which is the subdivision,
048, which
the
is the
preliminary subdivision. I think it's misidentified on the agenda.
Sorry about that.
I would like to make a motion, yes, I would like to make a motion to approve case number P2025-0048,
Preliminary
As-
subdivision.
preliminary subdivision,
And
presented to the board.
I will second that motion.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
On a motion to approve preliminary major subdivision with conditions, Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
and Acting Chair Ganganan.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor.
At this time, I would like to entertain a motion on case, item on the agenda 12, case B2023-0107.
I would like to make a motion also in reference to, a second motion in reference to case number P2023-0107.
And I will second the motion to approve.
Okay, on a motion to approve with conditions, Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
and Acting Chair Gangadan.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Where's Matt?
I'm going to read the resos tonight.
You're going to do a shorthand? Are we going to call the meeting back to order? At this time, I would like to call on the agenda number 13, case P2024-0247, which is a preliminary and major site plan, 76 Cottage Street. Applicant Apple Tree Suites.
Good evening, everybody. Rebecca Mariello of Connell Foley. Hello, this is a notice case. The applicant duly sent and published notice for the board's August 12th meeting, at which point it was adjourned to the September 9th, at which time it was adjourned again with preservation of notice to tonight. Council, if I may tender the notice as A1.
Thank you, please. Madam Chair, I am to receive the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 76 Cottage Street here in the city. I've had the opportunity to review it. It was noticed for the prior meeting as indicated by council, and we will mark it as A1 for purpose of the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the crux of this application is it's a change of use application. The building, there's an existing building at this property, 76 Cottage. It's an existing 9-story mixed-use building with ground floor retail and 42 residential units on the floors above. It is in the Journal Square redevelopment plan. The applicant purchased this property a couple years ago and is seeking to change the 42 residential units to 42 hotel units. This use is permitted in the Journal Square redevelopment plan, and we are not requesting any variance relief tonight. There are very minor modifications to the building, just some changes to the ground floor to accommodate like a reception desk to check in guests at the hotel. And also, just to note, we're in receipt of the planning staff report dated August 27th, 2025, and the applicant agrees to all of the conditions stated therein. We just have one witness here tonight, Mr. Jeffrey Lewis. If you want to, I guess, swear in, I guess this is your first one tonight.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name?
Jeffrey Lewis, Jeffrey
Mr. Lewis, is your license current?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thanks. Okay, so again, this is a pretty simple application. This is an existing 42-unit residential building. The mix of the building are 6 studio apartments, 31 bedroom apartments, and 6 2-bedroom apartments. Those are mostly on the upper floors. And we are proposing to convert those apartments into hotel suites. First, with the exterior of the building, on the left here, this is actually a photograph of the existing building. It is how it is, and there are going to be no changes proposed to that building. There are a few minor changes to the ground floor plan. I do want to show them. This is the ground floor plan here on the right. The 2 changes that we can talk about here. Previously, this is where the mail was, and it was just in the hallway. We're actually just closing that off to be a mail room, because as a hotel use, it doesn't really make sense to have as much access to the mail area. And then this is where we spoke about, we have the residential lobby, which will remain a lobby, but now will be a hotel lobby. So we're adding some finishes and a reception area. And those are the only changes that we're asking here. I do have the upper floor plans if you would like to see them, but all the apartments are staying exactly as they were approved all those years ago. And really, that's all I have to present tonight.
So when you say all those years ago, to my knowledge, it's a fairly recently built building, right?
So the predecessor and title received their site plan approval in, I think it was June of 2018 to build this building. I don't know when they got their CO, but if you just assume you get your approval 2018, maybe 2 years to build. And I submit any other questions to the board for this witness.
Any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Madam Chair, we do have to open it to the public.
At this time, I would like to open to the public. Is there anyone from the public?
Seeing no one from the public wishing to speak, I move to close.
Second.
Matt?
Not much to add here. Hotel is an allowed use in Zone 3 Commercial Center of the Journal Square 2060 redevelopment plan. It should be noted that, the original residential use here was approved before the mandatory affordable housing provision was added to the plan. And so by this change of use, they're vacating the continuity of that use. So should this building convert back to residential, it would need to provide 10% affordable housing. But with that being said, staff just asks that the applicant agree to abide by the conditions in the memo dated August 27, 2025.
Yep, of course.
And with that, staff recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve case number P2024-0247 as presented.
And I will approve that motion, or second that motion.
Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Aye.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsky,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
and Acting Chair Gangadin.
Aye.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Thank you.
Everyone, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call on case B 2025-0083, minor site plan for 240 Terrace Avenue.
Sorry. I thought there was one in between us.
Oh, they carried. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Danielle Kimbach. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Prime Tuvell and Maselli, here on behalf of the applicant 240-242 Terrace LLC. The application before you tonight is for minor site plan approval. The property is located at 240 and 242 Terrace Avenue, known as Block 1202, Lot 15 on the city's tax map, and it's located in the R1 zone. The property is currently an oversized lot of approximately 4,974 square feet, and it contains a two-family dwelling. The neighborhood is largely surrounded by residential use. Before appearing here tonight, after we submitted the application, we did reach out to the Western Slope Neighborhood Association and to see if they had any comments, and we did not receive any response. The application before you tonight proposes to demolish the existing structure and improve the property with a new 5-unit dwelling as well as an accessory dwelling unit in the rear. There are several improvements being made to the property as part of the application, which you'll hear more about. Currently, there are 2 curb cuts on the frontage. We are removing one of them, so there will only be 1 curb cut. We're not required to provide any off-street parking, but we're proposing 4 off-street parking spaces in a structured garage. Currently, the front lot coverage is non-conforming, and we are going to bring that into conformance. Additionally, the 2 side yard setbacks are both in a non-conforming condition currently, and we are bringing them into conformance. We have 1 witness to present tonight, our architect, Jeffrey Lewis. So he was sworn with the last application.
Counsel, do you have the original notices? I know they were on
Oh,
the
yes,
portal.
I forgot to run through the notice. So I don't have the original affidavit, but notice was published in the Record and the Herald on August 28th and mailed to all the property owners within 200 feet on August 29th. So I submit the board has jurisdiction to hear the application.
Madam Chair, I received the affidavit of service proof of publication with respect to the application. The matter had been set for a previous hearing and was carried through tonight with the preservation of this notice. I'm going to mark it as A1 for purposes of the record. Mr. Lewis?
Thank you.
You're still under oath, right, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
And he's still qualified as an expert.
Still an
architecture.
architect.
You didn't lose your license in the last 2 minutes?
No, ma'am. Okay. So, as was mentioned, this is an oversized lot located in the R1 zone. We're 100 feet deep and just under 50 feet wide. What's currently, or what was previously there, was a side-by-side 2-story, 2-family home that's been demolished, and we're proposing a new 3-story, 5-unit building with a rear accessory dwelling unit. Inside the main building, we have 4 3-bedroom apartments and 1 2-bedroom apartment, and the accessory dwelling unit has a 4-bedroom apartment. As was mentioned, the existing property has 2 curb cuts. There's one on the left that has a front yard driveway that leads to a garage. There's one on the right that just leads to front yard parking. It's also worth noting that our front yard setback for what was the existing building was less than 16 feet. So not only do we have front yard parking that we shouldn't have, but it's actually smaller than a compact parking space. So the cars that park there are sticking out into the public right-of-way. So these are conditions that are going to be improved by this application, as we are removing those curb cuts and replacing them with 1 10-foot curb cut, which leads to a 4-car parking garage. We're proposing new concrete curbs, new concrete sidewalks, as well as one new street tree as part of this application. Coming onto our property, our new front yard setback is 6 foot 6 inches, and that's to match the building to our left. We're using this space mostly for landscape area and also for permeable pavers where we have our building entries. We have 3 foot setbacks on each side of the building. The left side is permeable pavers, and that's going to be used as a main walkway back to the accessory dwelling unit. It is worth noting here that there's a grade difference where we're sloping up from front to back. So by the time we get to where that accessory dwelling unit is, we're actually at the second floor of the main building. And you'll see that clearer on the plans and definitely on the side elevations. We have some additional landscaping in the rear yard, both between the buildings and on the side. And the last thing I wanted to note is we are proposing right now a 6-foot wood fence along the right side property line. However, we did meet with our potential neighbor to the right, and they have some concerns about this is their side yard here is the only way for them to get to their backyard, and they had some concerns that maybe our fence might impede on that. The fence is on our property line, and we have every right to do it, but we'd prefer to work with our neighbor and make sure they still have access to their property, their backyard. So we were hoping that we can make a condition of this application that we would work with the neighbor, work with planning to find something that will work for everyone on that side fence. So that's one little thing we would like to change here. With that, I want to just jump into the floor plans. Here we're looking at the ground floor plan, and I want to start with the ground floor apartment here at the bottom. This is a ADA accessible 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. It does have a washer dryer in the unit as well. This is accessed directly from the front of the building. And I do have to say there is one other minor mistake here. As you can see, there are a couple of shrubs right in front of this doorway. That's obviously not going to work. So we need to remove those and extend our permeable pavers down about 5 feet. We do have enough wiggle room with our lot coverage and our front landscaping coverage that's not going to create any variances, so we can do that and still remain an as-of-right application. That's the last change, I promise. Okay, in the center of the building, we have our main building entry, and that leads to a stair up to the second floor, as well as a door out to the garage. The garage is accessed by an 11-foot wide garage door. Provides us with access to the four-car parking area, as well as a trash and recycling area, bicycle storage for 4 bicycles, gas meters, electric meters, and our sprinkler room, as this is a fully sprinklered building. This is the second floor of the main building, and we have 2 apartments here, one at the top, one at the bottom, that are roughly mirroring each other. Each of them are 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath apartments with the living, dining, kitchen in the front, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, as well as a laundry room in the back. And you can see we're showing the lower level of the ADU here. Also, you can see in our main bedrooms here, we actually have sliding doors out to the back lawn area, so they'll have access to this as a yard for themselves. The ADU, this is the lower level of the ADU. It consists of the living, dining, and kitchen area, 1 bedroom, 1.5 baths, as well as a stair up to the second floor of the ADU unit. Here I want to stick with the ADU to go to the upper level of that, where we have 3 additional bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, as well as the laundry. And then moving back to the main building, this is the top floor of the main building, our 3rd floor. These floor plans are very similar to what's below. Again, still 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. The only difference here is that these 2 apartments each have private roof decks. So we added these internal stairs at the front of the building, which go up to those private roof decks. And so here we are showing that plan. Each of those apartments, number 4 and 5, have a 647 square foot roof deck. Also between the green areas in the front and the back of the building, we have 736 total square feet of green roof area. We also have the main building stair coming up to the roof just to provide access to our air conditioning units for maintenance purposes. The last thing I want to note here is that the ADU has 2 skylights on the roof, but we aren't using the roof for anything. There's no roof deck on this roof. It's just a regular flat roof. But we do have a stair that, not a stair, excuse me, a ladder that we're providing just for, again, access for any sort of maintenance that would be needed for this roof. Here we're showing the front and rear elevation. Again, you could see 3 stories at the front and only 2 stories for the rear elevation to the building. Looking at the front, the main finish is a smooth beige brick. We have these 2 cantilevered bays in the front. They're finished with a regal white metal panels. We're using cedar brown metal siding as these accents between our windows and a slate gray aluminum wrap cornice at the top of the building. We have black aluminum frame windows and doors, and our 2 entry doors and the garage door at the base of the building are using half transparency glass. Looking to the rear elevation, our main finish is now a light gray vinyl siding. We have those same black aluminum frame windows and doors. As I mentioned, we have doors in the bedrooms that open out to the backyard at the ground level. On the upper level, those will be Juliet balconies that are dark gray aluminum balconies. Okay, so here again at the side, you can definitely see how we have steps going up and how the ADU is actually at the second level of the main apartment. I think it's pretty clear here. As far as the finishes here, we have a beige smooth stucco finish at the ground floor of the main building and at the base of the ADU. And then above that, we have the light gray vinyl siding to match what we proposed previously. We're also showing the front of the ADU here on the top. This is what's facing our building, and because it's so close to our building, it's only 5 feet away, we didn't put any windows on this elevation. The windows are facing out to the side, so the front building, they'll have their privacy. And we finished this wall with the same beige brick that we're using in the front of the building. And you could also see that ladder that I mentioned previously. Then lastly here, this is the back of the ADU. Again, same vinyl siding finish. And as well as the left side where we have, again, the beige smooth stucco finish at the base, vinyl siding above. The only difference is you can see that we have a set-in area for a covered entry to the ADU. I think that covers my drawings. I can answer any questions that you can have about them.
Mr. Lewis, what's the deal with the fence on the right side?
So we're proposing a 6-foot fence on our property line.
Right.
Our neighbor, it
Follow
looks
the
like.
topography?
Right, it would step up with the
Okay.
stairs. But it looks like our neighbor to the right has a little less than 3 feet once they get to the back, and they just don't want to get choked off there, and if we can work with them, we will.
And if they want it removed, we can remove the fence, and that's of no
I think they want some
consequence?
sort of a fence because, and they are going to speak for themselves, but I think they want some sort of fence to provide some sort of privacy for their yard. So we're looking for something that will work out for both of us here.
Any questions from the board?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Council, that conclude your presentation?
Yes, it does.
At this time, I would like to open for the public.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And for the record, can you state, spell your name, and give us your home address, please?
It's Stephanie, Estephanie, last name Farhi, Farhi. Currently residing at 700 First Street, apartment 9N, Hoboken, New Jersey.
You have 3 minutes.
Sorry?
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. First time attending this meeting, so apologies in advance if I missed anything on this presentation. My name is Stephanie Farhi, like I said before. My husband Eric and I are currently under contract to purchase property 238 Terrace at Jersey City. The project presented by the members here for 242 Terrace Avenue in Jersey City is adjacent to the property that we're buying. As part of the purchase process, we did ask our current owner to share any documentation that they had about this project. The only thing that was shared with us was a letter from the demolition company, which said that they would take any full responsibility for any damages caused for the demolition. We did reach out to them last week. The gentleman was not helpful. Hence, we did some more research, and we're here tonight to hear and learn more about this project.
We had the following concerns and questions prior to meeting with the members tonight. We wanted to know what protections or guarantees were being taken, were in place to protect the property for 238. We wanted to know what was the plan to repair the access to the property, which currently due to the demolition is broken. And lastly, we're not well versed on architectural plans, but from what we did observe, and they confirmed, the fence seems to be right in the middle of the pathway, and it will be narrowing our access to the patio. Thanks to the member of the board earlier today, they suggested that we had a side conversation with them. We did talk to the architect, the lawyer, and the developer who's here tonight. They did agree to work with us to find a solution. We don't have the solution. We are not versed on what potentially will be the best solution. But they're very nice enough to say that, we just mainly wanted to know who to talk to. We had no contact of who was in charge of the project. So, we are not objecting to the project to continue. We were mainly concerned about bringing this to light tonight, finding the proper parties to talk to and find a solution, and we have accomplished that. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Seeing
Madam
no one
Chair.
else from
Go ahead.
the public wishing to speak, I move to close.
Second.
Public is closed.
Yeah, do you want me to respond to the public comment? Yeah, we spoke with Ms. Farhi, as did my client, the applicant, who is going to be, undertaking the project, assuming it gets approved tonight. As we discussed, we are improving the nonconformities on our property. However, it appears there's a nonconforming side yard setback on part of their property. And we want to be a good neighbor and not impede their access. So as a condition of approval, we'll work with them to have a solution, to not inhibit that.
Thank you.
Plenty.
This is Benjamin. No.
Joseph.
Joseph, sorry.
Hi, no problem. Yes, so in reviewing the reviewing the application for the minor site plan, we found that we agreed with the applicant's analysis that it does make the proposed structure is much more conforming with the development standards as it relates to R1. The density is also complies with R1 standards, and we are pleased to hear that the applicant's team is amenable, and we're working with the southern side neighbor in regards to the fencing situation. As it stands, I just want to confirm with the applicant's team that they were able to review the conditions of approval in the site memo dated August 25th, 2025, and they agree with it, with the addition of working with the southern side neighbor in the design of the southern side fence.
Yes, we reviewed your letter. We could comply with all the conditions, and as an additional condition, we'll work with the planning department and the neighbor.
Wonderful. Then planning recommends approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion in reference to item number, what is it, it's a P205, excuse me, P2025-0083, and as presented to the board with all conditions.
Second.
Okay. Acting Vice Chair Stamato.
Yes.
Commissioner Wick.
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis.
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsky.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
Acting Chair Gangadin.
Aye.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I would like to call in case B2025-0043, preliminary and final major site plan for 712-714 Bergen Avenue. Mr. Lean, how long are you going to take on this one?
I'm hoping I'll be 15 minutes, 20 minutes at most.
You think so, Santa?
So the last application then, Mr. Lean.
That's up to the board.
It is our last application for tonight.
Oh, what about our guy over here?
Ours is a very nominal
Mr. Lean says it's going to take him 20 minutes, and we know that that means 30. So let's get going here, Mr.
Yes.
Lean.
Well, the only thing is earlier tonight, we got him from 10 years to 3, so maybe we get him from 15 down to like 7.
See if he helps Mr. Harrington.
Nudge him, Chuck, nudge him.
Okay,
All right,
Mr. Lane.
good evening, Commissioners. Tom Lane from Connell Foley. This is a notice application. I will provide a copy, the original, to council.
Thank you.
Chairman, received the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 712 Bergen Avenue here in the city. This was originally set for a previous meeting. It was carried through tonight with preservation of that notice. It does appear to be in order. We're going to mark it as A1 for purposes of the record.
Thank you. Mr. Lane.
Thank you. Just to give a little background on the project here. Our client bought 3 pieces of property that were known as 712 through 718 Bergen Avenue. They were 3 individual buildings. 2 were 5 stories, 1 was 3 stories. They submitted plans to both Historic and the Building Department to renovate those buildings and turn them into a 1 4-story building with 27 units in it. That was approved. When they went in with their final drawings, however, there was connections between the buildings that were not permitted because the lots had not been consolidated. They went through a process of consolidating the building, which took almost a year, dealing with the assessor and the building department. And while they were going through this process, they were actually informed that they're in the NC zone and that there was changes to the neighborhood commercial zone that would allow them to go up to 5 stories. Through a miscommunication, they didn't understand that that process would involve coming to this board for approval. So they did commence construction for a 5th story. They were immediately given a stop work order. They reached out to our firm, and we filed the present application, which is in front of you. Essentially, this is a conforming building under the NC. It's a 5-story building containing 36 units with ground floor commercial. We're not asking for any variance relief, and these, again, are existing buildings that we're just expanding on. So I hope this is a very brief presentation from our architect to just show you what we're doing. One thing I would mention to the board is we've worked extensively with Historic. There are portions of the building on the side facade on Fairmount Avenue with some brickwork that's considered historic. We're going to retain that, and Historic has basically signed off on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, if I misheard you. Construction started and they didn't do the consolidation of lots
No, the lots were consolidated.
prior to construction?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Then they started the construction, were immediately given a stop work order because they didn't understand it required a site plan approval from this board. Again, a miscommunication with zoning and the building department. They reached out to us immediately, and we filed the application to get this in front of you, and we've been working with Historic and Planning ever since.
Okay.
I have one witness this evening, our architect, Pietro, I'm sorry, your last name? Rosado. Pietro Rosado.
Yes, sure. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. For the record, can you just speak and spell your name?
Sure. Pietro Rosado, Pietro Rosato.
Mr. Rosado, did we qualify you in the past?
No.
Can you
It's the first
just give
time.
us a brief background of your
Sure.
qualification?
I received my bachelor's degree from architecture from NJIT back in 2008, and I've been licensed architect since 2016 in New Jersey. I'm licensed in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, and my license is active and good standing.
You're qualified.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a brief summary of the project. The project proposes a new 5th floor level, which is approximately 7,678 square feet for 9 apartment units. The 1st floor level will remain as 4 retail tenant spaces and will maintain 2 out of the 3 stairways. 2 of the 3 stairways that are existing to access the floor levels above. The 2nd through the 4th floor level propose 9 apartment units. Apartment units per floor level, with a total of 36 proposed apartment units. The unit mix proposes a 16 one-bedroom units, 16 two-bedroom units, and 4 studio units. The apartment units will be handicap accessible. Currently, the applicant has a building permit to construct 24 apartment units, 8 units per floor without the 5th floor addition. And what we're going to show you is a comparison of what was approved compared to what is proposed, as you can see in the slideshow. At the basement level, we're proposing a laundry room for tenant use only, and utility and storage rooms on the eastern part of the building, as you can see from the plan. The center basement will only be utilized by the retail tenant space number 2, and both basements do not connect. On the western right side of the building, which is sort of the third building on the western side, there is no basement, and the building is on slab on grade. On sheet PB 104, so the first floor level proposes 4 retail tenant spaces, and they range from 890 square feet to 3,502 square feet. On this floor, we're also proposing a bicycle room along the back of the building, which is shown here. And on the southern side, to accommodate up to 19 bikes, in addition to the exterior bicycle parking, where 23 spaces are required and 23 are proposed for both the retail tenants and the apartment tenants. 2 of the 3 entrances to the upper floors will remain where the stairs will be modified to meet today's building code requirements. There are currently 2 elevators, and 1 will be removed on the southern right side of the building, and the other elevator on the eastern side of the building will be modified to access all level, and this will be ambulatory size as required by code. Each retail space will also have a rear exit for egress purposes. The second, third, and fourth floor are identical in design, where 4 units are 1 bedroom, 4 units are 2 bedroom, and 1 unit is a studio. The 1 bedroom units range from 525 square feet to 875 square feet. The 2 bedroom units range between 697 to 900 square feet, and the studio is 454 square feet. Every apartment unit proposes an open floor plan concept with living, dining, and kitchen, and an ADA accessible bathroom. The building comprises of 3 separate buildings that have been merged, and consequently the floor elevations vary. And we're proposing the connection with interior ramps to comply with ADA standards, and stairs to connect the building at the corridors as needed. The 5th floor level is identical to the lower levels, except there's no variation in the floor elevations, and will all be at the same floor level. On PB 109, sheet PB 109, we're proposing a new flat roof. This is not a green roof. This is going to have a slight pitch for drainage towards the back of the property, and will be collected through scuppers. We're also proposing 36 condensing units on the roof for each apartment unit, and we're proposing mini splits for each one of the apartments. A roof access hatch will be installed at one of the stairwells to provide access for servicing the units and roof repairs when needed, and the tenants will not have access to the roof. PB 110 and PB 111 show the floor area of each of units as previously described. Then we go to sheet PB 200 showing the elevations. The front facade facing Bergen Avenue proposes to keep the existing brick cornices and lintels for the eastern and the center building. The first floor level of the eastern part of the building, we're proposing to replace with the stucco with stone tile. The western side of the facade proposes the same stone tile at the first floor level, and then the second floor level, with a brick veneer that will complement the existing brick with a precast stone cornice that separates the brick from the fifth floor. The fifth floor will have a stucco facade with a smooth texture, and all the windows of the apartments will be aluminum clad with a black frame retrofitted to fit within the existing opening. The left side facade facing Fairmount Avenue proposes stone tile at the base on the first floor level, and it will restore the brick as specified by Mr. Lee and on the upper floors. Obviously, that will need repairs and repointing. And the rear facade proposes stucco for the entire facade, as you can see from the elevation. That'll be that's it. Try to be as fast as possible.
I have no questions for my witness.
Counsel, are there any variances in connection with the application?
There are no variances.
So on the agenda where it says in height, feet, that's incorrect.
That's incorrect. No, the original application, the original measurement for the building did show a height variance. That was corrected on our plans. We are now in conformance, and I believe we did. I do have a notice in my file to planning notifying them that the height has shrunk down.
Well, really, the only reason you're before the board is because we're consolidating the three buildings, and by attaching them,
We've gone
it
into the major
triggered.
site plan just by the number of units and the square footage. Yeah.
Understood. Madam Chair, I've got no further questions.
Okay.
Is this the old Horizon Healthcare building?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And the historic, the front was this part was the historic, just in the front there?
The portion that Historic concerned themselves with, yes, they were interested in that form, but really it's on the Fairmount side, and I don't know if we have a rendering of that. If not, can you go back to the Fairmount? It's the brickwork that's shown on the corner. I don't know if you want to, you're better.
No, that's fine. No, go ahead.
It's the brickwork that's shown on the corner of the building that I think we're zooming in on now. And the form of the brick, and just keeping and repointing the brickwork that is there. That's going to remain. They're removing it, and then they're going to put it back in the same form as it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any comments from the board? No.
No.
Mr. Lee, that concludes your presentation?
I do have a civil engineer here. I don't believe you want to hear from him at this point, but that's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you.
Public.
At this time, I'd like to open for public comment.
Seeing no one from the public wishing to speak, I move to close.
Thank you.
Second.
Cam?
Planning staff would ask that you agree to the memo's conditions dated in the memo provided on September 4th of this year.
Yep, I've reviewed with my client. They are accepted.
Okay. Planning staff finds the application meets the objectives and goals of the redevelopment plan. They have, as they stated, worked closely with Historic on the brickwork and the facade. It's just a technicality of the application here, and planning staff recommends approval.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve case as presented. Case number is P2025-0043.
Second.
Okay. On a motion to approve, Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsky.
I think this is a great addition. It moves some of the development that was happening down by Belmont and Kensington and moves it and joins it up with the Journal Square. So I think it's great, and I vote aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
And Acting Chair Gungadin.
Yeah, I think beautifully designed. Great addition to the neighborhood. Aye.
Motion carries all in favor with conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Harrington?
Chuck, I gotta call your case.
What's that?
I gotta call your case.
I'm an eager beaver.
Case B 2025-0096, site plan amendments and extension, 195 Hudson Street. What do you have, 5 minutes, Chuck? Chuck?
You can do it in 4.
Yeah, for me, whatever you need. Charles Harrington of Connell Foley, on behalf of the applicant, I do have notices for the application. I'll give those to council.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington.
What is this?
18.
Madam Chairman, receive the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 195 to 215 Hudson Street. I've had the opportunity to review it. It does appear to be in order. This matter was originally scheduled for a prior meeting, was carried through to tonight with preservation of that notice. A1 for purpose of the record.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, and thank you for indulging us at this late hour. This application before you is further amendments to what we refer to as the Irby 2 and 3 towers. If you're familiar with the Irby 1 downtown with the kind of the Jenga look. We got initial approval in August of 2022. We were back before the board in December of 2022 and April of 2024 for further amendments. So this is another set of amendments where we're very close to breaking ground and getting our permits. So what we have tonight is there's 3 components to the application before you. We are asking for an extension of the approval, kind of a boots and suspenders request, because although we have had past amendments to the application, it was approved in August of 2022, which would take you to August of 2024 because of the variances in the initial application. We are asking for 2 additional years to take us to August of 2026, but we're all ready to get in the ground within the next few months. We're also asking we're presenting a phasing plan because the idea is to build 1 tower at a time, and we'll go through that during the presentation. And then there are some minor changes you'll see to the project, and part of those changes is an increase in the residential units from 1,510 units to 1,537 units. That's the primary reason that got us here, because of the increase in units. Otherwise, it could have been possibly administrative amendment. So, with that said, everything else is conforming. There's no variances being requested, no deviations. That all stays compliant. So I have one witness tonight is our architect, Mr. Scott Herrick. We do have our engineer and landscaping experts here in the event the board has any questions. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Herrick.
You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
The record can be by your name.
Scott Herrick, SCOTT-HERRICK.
Mr. Herrick, your license current and in good standing?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. You may proceed.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Herrick, if we could just mark the slide deck that you're going to use for your presentation as A2, and if you could describe if A2 is okay, and describe that for the record.
Okay. What I've done is create an abridged set. This is drawings that have been submitted to the planning board. I have not made any changes, not even to color. It's the exact drawings, but I've only included the drawings that I thought were necessary to talk about the specific changes rather than the full set.
This is a 17-sheet set, Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
It is, but we'll be brief as we go through them.
Real brief.
We've already talked about that.
Very brief.
Aren't we just talking about 27 units?
Well, we want to just show you the phasing. I'll let Mr. Herrick walk you through. He knows it's going to be
All right,
brief.
Since you seem to be familiar with the project, I'm going to skip the first page. We're going to go to the second page, and I'll just briefly describe so what you see on the plan here is you see on the lower right is Tower 2, upper left is Tower 3. The infill is the podium, one of the major changes that's happened in the overall building and that has led to the addition of units is that amenity rooftop feature in the middle has gone from, has gone from, I have to stop talking with my hands, has gone from the 9th floor down to 6th floor. So we've lost 3 floors of that podium. That's reduced parking. It's reduced the overall amenities in the space. There's no longer a commercial spa or health club element in that podium. And then what's happened is the free towers on floors 7, 8, and 9, we've been able to add units. So a total of 27 units, as Chuck said. Here's a section. You can see that that podium element has been reduced. The interim configuration that Chuck mentioned is with Tower 2 only and the podium, and then taking the space that would be occupied by Tower 3 and creating a finished park, and on the backside of that podium, creating a finished elevation with EFIS panels. So it would, in the interim, however long that is, I think I don't know if we've said a time period. But,
we're estimating up to 18 months.
But during that time, it would be a completely finished park with dog run, walkways, benches, and so forth. So that is the crux of that interim solution, is that it would be a fully finished element for the city.
I have a question.
Yes.
The EFIS that you just mentioned is going where?
Let me show you an elevation. Or if you can see my cursor here, it's along this side right here, which is where the tower, if you go back to this plan, is where the tower fits in. See that? So if the tower's not built in phase 1, we have this, and this surface here.
And that'd be a temporary facade.
Mr. Harrington, I think you know what the general
just
concern of the board with EFIS is.
Well, the EFIS, yeah, we would agree that any EFIS would be cut inside.
Container.
Right, and the idea here is to have a temporary facade until that phase 2 tower is built out.
All right, okay, go ahead. Thank you.
All right, so just briefly, there's been some minor changes. The coordination with PSE&G, sidewalk vaults have created the facade being pushed back 3 foot 8 inches off of Green Street. So there's minor variations in overall floor areas. We're all well within all of the as of right requirements.
Including with the removal of that amenity space and the addition of the units?
Yes, it's all compliant with the redevelopment plan.
All right, so what happens is on this second level, this area down here that was health club is now just residential amenity. It's a reduced area. Parking gets reduced. Bike count gets increased, so that with the increased units, we have increased number of bike spots to meet the requirement. Over in the upper right here, we added a dog run, so some minor adjustments. And then with the free tower arrangement, we've added, filled in some additional units that weren't possible before. So you'd asked about the elevations. On the lower here is just the street. This one is, that's Green Street. And then if we go to this side, so this is the elevation with the EFIS panels. So see, we're just creating kind of a clean elevation there as a temporary facade to face the park area. And then here's landscape plans. This is the full build out landscape plan. And then here's the temporary. So you can see that we're creating seating areas, we're creating pathways, everything's ADA compliant. Still providing a dog run to the side, so making it a fully functioning space during that interim period. The rooftop amenity doesn't change at all. It just lowers from the 9th floor down to the 6th floor. So that actually gets under the, as of right, 85-foot height limitation. Before we had asked for a waiver. Now we're under that height. Civil-wise, there's just some very minor adjustments to sidewalks and whatnot to accommodate these same changes. I'm happy to provide more specific information or answer questions.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any.
No.
You have any?
I don't. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yeah, that concludes our presentation then.
Okay. Is there anyone-
9:58. 9:58.
Is there anyone from the public?
It's a 2-minute warning.
Seeing
Anyone
no
from the
one.
Public, I recommend to close the meeting.
Second.
The public portion.
Second.
Thank you. Public is closed. Joseph?
Hi, thank you. Yes, so in staff's review of the project, we found that it complies with the development standards and use standards of the redevelopment plan area. I just want to ask the applicant whether they agree to staff's recommended conditions of all conditions of approval with regards to the previous approvals of P22-094 and P22-191, which shall remain in effect.
Yes, we do.
Then staff recommends approval.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion in reference to project number P 2025-0096, presented to the board with all conditions.
Second. Second.
Acting Vice Chair Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis,
Aye.
Commissioner Lipsky,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Acting Vice Chair Gangden.
Aye.
Motion carries all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Chuck, one question. This says Irby 2, but isn't there an Irby in Journal Square and one downtown already?
Yes, there's Irby 1, and it is at downtown, and then Journal Square Irby is up at Journal Square.
So this will be Irby 3.
Well, downtown 2 and 3.
Okay.
It's too late for math.
What's that get?
Good night and good luck.
Mr. Lean.
Mr. Lee?
Is this yours, 25 Lembeck?
Yes, it is.
25 Lembeck, I know that.
Oh, okay. For the record, Tom Lean from Connell Foley. This
Wait,
is a minor.
Let me just call the case.
Oh, sure.
I'd like to call case B2025-0100, minor subdivision with C variances, 25 Lembeck Avenue.
This is a minor subdivision with variances. As such, it is a notice case. I have posted this affidavit to the portal, but I will give it to council for review.
Madam Chair, I receive the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 25 Lembeck Avenue here in the city. I've had the opportunity to review it. It does appear to be in order. We're going to mark it as A1 for purpose of the record.
Thank you, council. This is a request to subdivide an oversized lot at 25 Lembeck Avenue, which is in the R1 zone. It is a 6,250 square foot lot. The proposal is to divide it into two equally sized lots of 3,125 square feet apiece. The property currently contains a single-family home. The idea is to keep the single-family home on one of the lots. The other lot will be vacant and will be eventually developed with a conforming 1- and 2-family home. There's only one curb cut accessing the property right now. That's going to remain. We're not requesting 2 curb cuts. The existing curb cut will actually service the new proposed building as opposed to the existing building. We do have 2 variances. They are both related to side yards. Conditions for the existing building. Basically, they're there to just make sure that the building as it is constructed can remain on this property that will be even larger than is required. This will be 2,500 is required here. We're 3,150. We're trying to make 2 equally conforming lots. I think this survey and the subdivision plat speak for themselves, so I don't have a surveyor here, but I do have Sam to just quickly run through the request for the relief.
So there's variances requested, because according to the agenda, there is no variance requested here.
There are variances, and I did notice for them.
That is accurate.
Why it's not here?
I think that is human error on my part. I apologize for that. There are variances.
Okay.
And I do recognize I'm still under oath. So as Tom said, we have 2 variances for side yard setback. We're proposing 1.1 feet. That's to the existing building, to the proposed dividing line between the 2 lots. So that's a minimum for 1, where 2 feet's required. And then for the combined, we have 4.1 feet, where 5.1 feet's required. So both are related to the side yard setback, both related to the existing structure. As Tom said, we're proposing 2 conforming lots. So the benefits here, I think, would outweigh the detriments. The subdivision's consistent with the R1 district, and is consistent with the lot pattern and development pattern of the block. So I don't see any substantial detriments here. I don't see any substantial impairment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance. As Tom mentioned, we're keeping the existing curb cut that is permitted in the R1 district. And then overall, I think we are consistent with the purposes of the municipal land use law, with this proposed subdivision and minor variance relief that we're seeking. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No.
Is there anyone from the public?
Madam Chair, meeting that I see no one from the public, I recommend we close the public motion.
Second.
Ben?
Staff agrees with the testimony provided by the applicant. The application furthers the principles of the land use element of the Jersey City Master Plan, including ensuring the city's available housing is balanced and meets the needs of all current and future city residents, as well as the purpose of the R1 neighborhood housing purpose of encouraging compatible infill. Staff recommends approval, provided that the applicant agrees to the conditions in the staff memo dated October 6th.
I reviewed the memo, and we agree to the conditions there.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion in reference to case number P2025-0100. As presented with the 2 variances.
Roll call?
Second.
All right. Commissioner Stamato,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis, Commissioner Lipsky,
Aye.
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Acting Chair Gongadin.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you.
We have to read anything off or anything?
Santos.
Good night.
Good night.
Motion to memorize resolutions.
I got to read them into the record. Madam Chairman, receipt of 8 resolutions this evening. First resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City, applicant 24 Bright Street LLC for preliminary and final major site plan approval, 24 Bright Street, Block 14106, Lot 37, Jersey City, New Jersey, case number P2024-0117. Resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City for approval and recommendation of amendments to Chapter 34, 345 zoning. Resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City for approval and recommendation of amendments to the zoning map and land development ordinance regarding the creation of the Hackensack River Greenway overlay. Resolution number 4 is a resolution of the City of Jersey City Planning Board in the matter of 610 Commune Lux LLC, application number P2024-0242, decided August 26th, memorialized this evening, October 7th, application for preliminary and final major site plan approval and C variance. Fifth resolution is a resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City, Yellowstone Development LLC for preliminary and final major site plan approval with deviations 54 Jones Street, Jersey City, New Jersey, Block 10704, Lot 38.01, case number P2025-0019. A resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City, applicant GLC Jersey City LLC for preliminary and final major site plan approval with C variances for the property at 125 Theodore Conrad Drive, Jersey City, New Jersey, Block 24305, lots 1.01, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, case number P2024-0132. Resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City, applicant GLC Jersey City, LLC, for preliminary and final major subdivision approval. Property is 125 Theodore Conrad Drive, Jersey City, New Jersey, Block 24305, lots 1.01, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, case P2024-0172. Final resolution is a resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City authorizing the issuance of requests for qualification professional services to the board.
Second. Roll call.
You need a motion and a second.
I made a second.
Nobody made a motion.
I make a motion
To memorialize the resolutions,
to memorialize the
Madam Chair,
As
seconds.
stated.
Acting Vice Chair, Commissioner Stamato.
Aye.
Commissioner Wick. Commissioner Lewis. Commissioner Lipsky.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Talking while-
Acting Chair Gungadin. Acting Chair Gungadin. Motion carries all in favor to memorialize resolutions. And Chuck would like to make an announcement about his carry.
The last item, 87 Van Horn, I left without asking that it be carried to November 25th. So, on the record.
Yes, November 25th.
What's that? What, did you close the meeting?
No.
Oh,
we didn't-
sh-
All right.
November 25th.
November 25th. Carried with preservation of notice, 87 Van Horn.
Thanks.
The way you
And-
went back here, Chuck, we're going to get you into the Jersey City Half Marathon.
And actually,
or the
item
sprints.
24, P2025-0200, we're going to carry that to October 28th. So.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So wait, what's going on with 24?
So that's going to October 28th. Okay.